Hi, everyone. Just popping in to let you know that we just launched our new monthly newsletter, which we've created to share nostalgic news, reviews, and reflections, along with some updates about our other projects. You can sign up for free on our Patreon to get these newsletters in your inbox every last Friday of the month. Thanks for listening.
Do they ever get, uniforms?
No, not really.
Huh.
Yeah,
There's no resources for uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
The
not.
Andalites don't wear clothes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And even if they were able to put in a custom order, you don't know if the person making it's going to be a controller.
They're
That's
like,
true.
Hey, so I
We
just
got
received a
this
custom order.
It's just
Five
Animorphs.
leotards.
Hello, and welcome back to Nostalgia Club, your favorite podcast.
We're laughing because that's ridiculous.
No, you can have multiple favorite podcasts. No, I'm kidding. This is a
No,
show.
you're kidding. You can only have one? No,
I know,
we'll lose
yes.
out every time. There have to be multiple favorite podcasts you can have.
All right, quick. What's everyone's favorite podcast?
Nostalgia Club.
Hey, who was that? Wow. Was that a fourth voice on a typically three-voice podcast?
Did someone connect to our recording equipment? How is this happening?
Well, hold on. Let's do a roll call here. I'm Michael, and then... So I know I'm here, and then you
Okay.
are.
I'm Gino. That must mean I'm here.
And then, of course, we have the person who started this, which is...
Victoria.
Well, then who's the fourth voice?
This is Livi coming to you from Andalite Thought Speak.
Whoa. That will do a cool reverb effect over that.
Perfect. Yes, today we are talking about Animorphs, and my good friend Livi is joining us on the podcast because she is maybe one of the most knowledgeable people I know about the Animorphs series. This is a series that ever since we started Nostalgia Club, I've wanted to cover, but the three of us have not read
no
it.
experience.
And we have no experience. My only experience is going to the library, and I know specifically the Animorphs books were located next to the Warrior Cats books. But I thought the Animorphs books were scary looking.
They look
So I
wild.
didn't pick them up.
Unintended.
I think I would take them off the shelf and look at the covers, and I'd be like, that's crazy. I don't know anything about these books. I've just decided I don't want to read them, and I put them back. But I just have such a vivid memory of being in that specific bookshelf area of the library and seeing them.
Well, I have to credit you guys, honestly, because I purchased all of these books in print, but the motivation to read all, and I have my notes right here, all 62 books, 9,756 pages, 1,449,150 words was to talk about this on the podcast. I was like, I can't come on here without having read all of them,
And we are so grateful for your sacrifice.
You are more dedicated about this property than we have been about any other property.
Yeah.
Except maybe Haikyuu.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I'm super excited. Do you want to just give us a brief overview of your experience of Animorphs aside from what you've already shared?
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar experience to you, Victoria, of I would see them in the library, but we moved around so much, and there's 62 books. There's no way that one library is going to have all of them back to back. And you get, so many in, and we can talk about this more of once the ghostwriters started coming in, there's some filler books, with any good show or anime or whatever, where the plot doesn't really progress. So then you can fall off really easily if you don't immediately have the next book ready to go. So recently I went through and I reread all of them back to back using my Kindle, and it was just the most amazing experience because you fly through the filler ones really quickly, but then you have the immediate satisfaction of plot twist after plot twist after, and things just get more and more and more intense and up to the finale. So
I'm so curious to know what a filler Animorphs book is like. What did they do?
There was one where they chase after this MacGuffin plot device, right? Where it's this Andalite piece of technology that Visser 3, who's the main antagonist of the Animorphs, and the Animorphs and Visser 3 are racing to get to this Andalite artifact, which coincidentally ends up in Area 51 of all places, because of course it does.
Fun.
And at the end of it, it's revealed that it's just an Andalite toilet. Like it's just from one of the space.
It was referenced in one of
Wow.
these books that we read.
Truly filler.
Yeah.
The most filler plot that could ever happen.
Exactly.
As you were describing this, I was locked in.
It's like a race for this artifact, and like who's gonna get there first, and there's soldiers and all this stuff, and then it's a toilet. Like it just doesn't.
I will say some of the lines and dialogue in this series are pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like some of them are really silly, and
Yeah.
I'll be reading it and I'll like have a little laugh, and then the next page will be like something so harrowing and dangerous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is crazy, but it does help to have like the levity of like a silly line here and there.
Yeah.
When they are on such a dangerous, crazy mission.
Because isn't it like it's like Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? It reminds you that they are kids having to deal with this experience.
True.
Yeah. And it's a product of its time. All of the 90s references.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole sequence in The Sickness where Cassie dreams about Noah Wiley and ER. Like,
Right,
Yeah.
right. I remembered running into that and being like, wait, is this a character we haven't met from the end?
no, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, it's baby Noah Wiley, who's now won all these awards on the Pit. So full circle moments.
If Animorphs was written now, then it'd be references to the Pit instead of ER.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be maybe more relatable. I hear the Pit is really intense. I haven't watched it myself.
It's
but-
so intense. ER was intense, but it had moments of levity. But yeah, like the Pit is just like it's much less on the levity side, and it's way more realistic and intense, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother episode.
Catch us in 20 years where we talk about the Pit and how we're nostalgic for it.
Nostalgia Club for old Doctor shows. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Would that happen? Like, if we keep doing this for 20 years, would the, like, average audience of the products that we're reviewing go up until we're reviewing stuff like The Pit? Is that how that works?
I don't know. I
Have
guess
we
we'll
landed on
see.
the perfect formula? We'll never run out of content.
What season would we even be on at that point? Like season 40? We can't do this show for 40 seasons.
All right, this will be our last episode. Of Nostalgia Club. We got to end
Gina's
it while it's
cutting
good.
off. Yeah. This is the peak.
Anyways, for context for the listener, Livi kindly suggested 3 books that we read for the sake of the podcast, although there was a slight hiccup where Gino accidentally read 2 separate books.
I read the first 3 books.
Which makes sense, because usually when we cover a series, we like to read like the first couple books in chronological order.
Super fair.
I made a mistake.
It's okay.
And I
no,
must
but this
live with
is
it.
great because this episode, we're not just going to talk about the books that we read, but we're going to talk about the greater Animorphs canon.
Mhm.
So, spoiler alert if you are considering reading Animorphs, or if you don't want to be spoiled because you want to do a reread, pause this episode, go read all of them.
Yeah.
It probably won't take you very long, and then come back.
Yeah.
You'll do fine.
Yeah.
It's just like, what, 5 dozen books?
Yeah.
62.
They're like short.
62?
They're
Yeah.
short and quick reads. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then you'll be emotionally devastated and you can come
Absolutely.
back. So we read the first book, The Invasion,
Mhm.
because you got to read the first book. And then Gino read 2 and 3. And then Michael, Livi, and I read, well, Livi read all of them. Michael and I read number 19, which is The Departure, and then number 29, which is The Sickness. And I specifically asked Livi to pick 2 books that have sort of a cohesive arc,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it a little bit easier to talk about in podcast. So I am excited because it was interesting to see the progression
Yeah.
of the characters by book 19 and then book 29. So
Yeah.
very excited. Gino, Michael, what was your experience reading? And also your background for Animorphs, if there is any.
Hey, these covers are wild. These
Yeah.
covers are nuts. They're instantly recognizable. It's a child turning into an animal, but they show like every stage of that, and it is pretty. It's like, you know, press morph on your Photoshop application or whatever. There's no indication about what the story is about by just looking at the cover,
Mhm.
besides the fact that a child turns into a bug or whatever the
Yeah,
animal
yeah.
featured is. There's no like why, there's no plot, there's nothing to pull you in except for this child is turning into an animal or vice versa. And so growing up, seeing these covers everywhere, they haunted me in like a this is creepy and scary and I don't want to read this sort of way. And it was only when I became an adult and started hearing people talk about Animorphs casually that I realized it's about aliens,
Yeah.
which does make a little bit of sense. Where does the turning into animals tie into that? And so reading these was truly like stepping into this like completely unknown world.
Yeah.
And it was wild. And then every subsequent book got even wilder. It's really fun. I had a really good time. Again, I read the wrong books,
It's
but
okay.
I still had a great time. These books are clearly written for a younger audience, but they're also incredibly dark and like very emotionally mature.
Yeah.
And touch on subjects that I would never have expected a book for this
Yeah.
age demographic to have touched on. They are also, I think, like you said, a product of their time.
Yeah.
There is a sequence in the third book where they just start listing stores in a mall. And I'm like, half of these went out of business a while ago.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Rest in peace, mall stores.
True.
But it's really cool. I can tell why people would get really invested in this world because it is so expansive, like literally galaxy spanning. The escapism element of like, I can turn into animals paired with the, oh no, I can turn into animals and that means I am now a child soldier is sort of like really fascinating from like an adult perspective reader. Like the push and pull of that, like escapism and like the realities and horrors of violence is like,
Yeah.
it's really intriguing. So I think it's neat.
Yeah. That was my experience too. Like same thing as a kid. You're like, this looks kind of weird. This kid transforming into a lizard or something, and you're seeing all the in-between stages. And for me, it was like a combination of being a little like put off by that, and then also the sort of assumption that I was like, there's like a ton of these books. Is this like a new kid every time? Is this like
like are these like Goosebumps? Like are these related?
Yeah, or
yeah,
they
that's
an
fair.
anthology series.
Yeah,
That's super
yeah.
fair. Yeah.
And I was sort of like, is this sort of like what's the draw here? Like kid turns into animal, kids like animals. That's why there's a billion of these books. Is this like an after school special thing where it's like, oh, I turned into a bird and that made me a better soccer player or something somehow?
Yeah.
And I was dead wrong.
I turned into a gorilla, and that's how I know cigarettes are bad.
Right? Like that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. And then it turned out to be one of the most harrowing experiences.
Oh my God.
I ended up like running through plot stuff for later books because I was just like sucked in
Oh, good.
and fully like bummed myself out for like 2 days at least because I was like, oh man, this is heavy.
I do not envy these kids.
No.
I do not want to be these kids.
Well, there's so many, I feel like there's so many series, right? Where it's like, oh, we're taking it's middle grade fiction or whatever. We're taking these young kids and we're throwing them into harrowing circumstances, but there's whimsy to it and there's adventure. And they don't wind up deeply traumatized. And you're reading these books and you're like, these are child soldiers that have been fully, their psyche is borderline irrecoverable.
It's one of the only series I feel like that I've read where the kids within the series talk about that they are messed up, that they are traumatized, and and they say, I don't know if I can get back from this. And they like the acknowledgement of that is so cool.
Even from the very first book, like there's a moment where one of the kids, as a lizard, eats a bug. And it's like written as a very big moment. And that the way that it's like, oh, this is going to affect me for the rest of my life because I can't stop thinking about eating this live spider. You can tell that like, they're going to keep touching on this like recurring theme of like PTSD basically.
There is one book, and I'm super spoiler warning, there's one book where they are infiltrating a building, obviously, and they turn into ants. But what they don't realize is that, they took DNA from ants from a different ant colony. So when they go to the building's ant colony, the ants begin to rip them apart, and it's very violent. They're talking about how like they are being torn apart, and several books like talk about how they're like, we're never morphing that again. It was so harrowing.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of, and like there's a lot of violence in these books. Like it's all kind of coming back to me as I'm talking about it. I'm so excited to be talking about this. It's crazy. But yeah, like they acknowledging, because when you morph, right, for context, when you morph into an animal, if you get injured, when you morph back, you don't have that injury anymore. It doesn't carry over because it's, you're replicating the DNA. So the magic of it is that you can heal yourself. But the trauma that comes with it, though.
You still have the memory and the feeling and experience of being, of that happening to you.
Yeah.
And another thing about morphing is it's not just like a physical transformation. It's like a mental transformation too. Like you start having like the animal instincts and start seeing the world like that animal.
Yeah.
The fight or flight responses,
Yeah.
like predator and prey dichotomy is really interesting.
Yeah. They talk a lot about the human mind having to take control or overpower the animal mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, you never really know what to expect when you morph into a new animal. Like, it doesn't matter the size or like the complexity of the animal. Like, can I be stronger than a bear's instincts? Can I be
Mhm.
stronger than a flea's instincts? Can I be stronger than a rabbit's instincts? And like what is easier or difficult to take control of is honestly like you can't really predict it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like Beast Boy where he's like, I'm a Tyrannosaurus now. Rawr, I'm cool. It's like, I'm going to turn into a Tyrannosaurus. I might immediately try to eat you.
Yeah, no, when they did turn
I'm
into
so sorry.
Tyrannosauruses, they did like go into full attack mode on each other. There was a huge like primal like territory
Wow.
instinct. Yeah.
And it's also not like there's a flash of light and you transform. It's literally like the covers.
Oh,
but the books
yeah.
are so graphic in the description.
Yeah.
It's like body horror.
It's-
Yeah.
There's a
and it's
lot of
like-
body horror in these books is what I heard.
Yeah. And it's not like, oh, like, because again, I read the first 3 books. We're at book 3 now. You know what transforming's like. We're going to skip over this part. No. Here's how a person turns into a fish. We're going to describe it 4 times.
Here's your bones liquefying. Like
Yeah.
all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh, your limbs are shrinking and shooting into your body and your eyes are moving across your skull.
Yeah.
And like the gills pop in and suddenly you start panicking because you can't breathe.
You can't breathe.
And it sucks.
Yeah, and then you have to like remind yourself that now you can breathe because like your fish mind hasn't fully taken over, and so you're as a human still being like, I can't breathe.
Oh,
It's-
but in book 3 it's worse because they're not transforming in water. They're in a cave.
Oh.
They're turning into fish on dry land because of extenuating circumstances.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts. And they say like it's like it doesn't hurt them necessarily, but they can feel the movement of
Like it's supposed to hurt.
It's supposed to. Yeah, it's like when you go to the dentist and you get like the numbing spray. So like they physically are feeling the transformation.
Bad time.
Yeah.
Dang.
Who's your favorite Animorph with your guys' like varying?
Oh, like
Because
favorite.
I feel like you know more about through the series. Gino has the first 3. Victoria has my little Cassie arc that I pulled.
Well, Michael also read the 2.
Right. But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
also read.
Oh, right, 'cause you read the plot
You read
summaries.
more plot
Yeah.
summaries.
I read
yeah.
more plot
Mhm.
summary.
Yeah.
So like who's our favorite Animorph?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Just curious.
I mean, Cassie, because we spent so much time like in her head. But I really like Tobias, and I'm just really curious to see what his books are like because I'm sure they're really
They're
interesting.
really heavy.
And yeah, he's like really sweet. He's just like there to help out. So, so far.
Well, do you think too, like, I think when you read his books, though, you learn that he is happier because he's not a human.
I think that is the most interesting part of his character.
Mhm.
I mean, like, the first book is like you can tell that he enjoys being a hawk more than he enjoys like being a human. And so when he ultimately like settles, it's like everyone's devastated, but he's almost like not the most bummed about it, which is really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad I read book 3.
Does it change in book 3?
Oh, book 3's dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Book 3's heavy.
Yeah, like he goes through kind of like some. So the books are written like they alternate the narrators, right? So yeah, book 3 is in Tobias's head, and there's a couple other books in between here where it's like him having to acclimate to becoming like the hawk life.
Let me just say this right now before we get too far into it.
Hashtag Hawk Life.
Let me just
Sorry.
say right now, hashtag Hawk Life. But also, we're probably going to be talking about some really heavy topics.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, like, just general like,
Listener
content warning.
discretion advised.
Yeah.
Content warning.
Everything?
Yeah.
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 Make a child do war and then just to kind of extrapolate from there. That's what we'll be talking about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about death, violence,
Torture.
torture.
You know what? They do have a list on the Wikipedia for Animorphs.
Oh, wow.
That like before, and it's not even like
Is it really a disclaimer?
I don't think it's a disclaimer so much as a like themes list.
Oh, damn.
And
Wow.
just happening to read the themes, you're like, oh my gosh.
Wait, okay.
Yeah, just at the top of the Wikipedia, the core themes of the series are horror, war, imperialism, dehumanization,
Okay.
sanity,
Oh,
morality,
Mm-hmm.
innocence, leadership, freedom, family, and growing up.
So
Growing up being at the end is crazy.
are those in order of prevalence or
Sometimes it feels
I think
like
so. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fact that horror is first is horrifying.
the top three: horror, war, imperialism. Like, oh my
Oof.
gosh.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's gonna be a rough time. Strap in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to give like a general premise and then go into the individual books that we read?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 5 teens are leaving the arcade in the 90s.
Yes.
And they go home and nothing happens and they're safe.
Yeah. And that's the end of the series. Thank you for listening to Nostalgia. No, okay. So the main characters are Jake, Marco, Cassie, Rachel, and Tobias. They're all friends. Rachel is Jake's cousin as well, so a little bit of a family connection there. And they're just hanging out. And they decide to go home, and they decide to cut through like a construction site just because it's faster.
It's the 90s.
It's the 90s. Kids can just go wherever they want and just run wild, you know? So they go to the construction site and they run into a spaceship. It feels fast because it is. It's like chapter 2. They see the spaceship. And out of the spaceship is this alien creature that they come to learn is an Andalite. And that's their first contact with aliens, with the Andalites. And the Andalite, whose name is Prince Elfangor, he informs them that an invasion is not just coming, it has already arrived. There's some creatures called the yeerked who have infected the humans, kind of.
Yeah, infested.
Yeah, they controlled. Infested is
Yeah.
the better word. They've infested Earth, and they're here to take over, and the Andalites are trying to stop them. But Elfangor knows that he's about to die. And so what he decides to do is to give these 5 kids the ability to morph into animals. Andalites are so far the only creatures we meet who can morph.
Yeah, they're the only ones with the morphing technology.
Cool. And they have a box that allows them to give them the morph.
Yeah, the
give out the morphing technology.
The Escafil device.
Yeah. And
Thank you. We're getting the keywords.
This is
here.
why,
This
this
is
is why
like-
we're the expert here.
actually, this
Yeah.
is what it feels like if I was like a human controller and you're the yeerked. With like the more detailed knowledge.
You got to put the thought speak filter all over
Yeah,
all my
yeah.
dialogue.
And so the kids, of course, are horrified to learn this, but they don't really yet fully understand the gravity of what's happening. But they get the morphing ability. They unfortunately see Elfangor die.
Well, I think that's where they realize the reality of the situation when
Yeah.
they watch Elfangor get
Because then they
ripped to
see a bunch of
pieces.
humans come in, and also Visser 3, who's the leader of the pack.
He's the only Yeerk who is infested in Andalite.
Right,
So that's
he's
why
the only
he's able
Yeerk
to
who
morph.
can
Mhm.
morph. Yes. And so they see him morph, and he attacks them, and then they run away, and then Elfangor dies. And they go home, and they're like, what if we just decided to not think about it? So they decide not to think about it. They haven't even tried morphing because they're like, that's probably not even real. But then
Tobias
Tobias
does.
tries
Tobias is
it.
like, I hope this is real.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tobias is excited. So he turns in. Does he turn into a bird first?
He turns into his cat.
Right, he turns into his cat,
Yeah.
and he goes
his
to
cat
see Jake.
Dude. Yeah. His cat named Dude. Yeah. So
he
he
goes to Jake,
Jake's
and he's
house.
like, Jake, I turned into my cat. And Jake's like, no way. And then Tobias does it to prove that he can morph. So then Jake tries morphing as his dog. And then there's like a whole thing where his dog gets angry that there's another dog in the house, as dogs often do. Because it's like they fully morphed. They are animals now.
Yeah.
And so his dog is like freaking out. His parents and his brother are like, what's going on? Why is our dog freaking out? So then...
I think
so
they kind of slowly just sort of figure it out. Like
Yeah.
Cassie also.
yeah, so Cassie then transforms, but then like
Oh yeah, Cassie lives on a farm around a lot of animals.
Super
so-
convenient.
Which is really, really convenient. So they go to Cassie's farm and they just practice morphing. Like Cassie turns into a horse.
So she turns into a horse, but then they also, that's their first encounter, like face to face with a human controller is what they learn,
Yeah.
because the cop shows up and he's like, because they are looking for the kids who they thought they saw when Visser 3 kills Elfangor. So the cop almost catches Cassie mid-morph.
Yeah.
And then that's when Jake's brothers, like they're trying to figure out how to get closer with the Yeerks. I think they go to the sharing first, or do they go to the Yeerk pool first?
It's
Sharing
They go to the
The sharing
yeah.
first, yeah.
They start realizing there's this club at school called the Sharing, which Jake's brother has become a part of. And Jake, you like get hints and you pretty early figure out that Jake's brother is a controller, which is what they call humans who are infested by yeerks and being controlled. And so Jake will say throughout some of the earlier chapters, like, my brother and I used to hang out and like play basketball together and stuff, but now he just goes to this club called the Sharing. And I was like, Jake, if the club is called the Sharing,
it's probably not great.
Even if it's not aliens, there's something bad going on.
It's the cultiest vibes you've ever received.
It's very much like the Scientologists.
Exactly,
like not Scientology, but Scientology vibes.
Especially because, like, they don't really do anything. Their whole mission is just to recruit more people to the Sharing.
Sorry if you guys get doxxed by Scientologists, but I mean, like, that's kind of the vibe, right? Like, they're just
that's true, yeah.
Like, the whole premise is like, you join us and you become a better person. Like, we're here to like better ourselves and like.
And they got like ranks and whatnot.
Yeah, and they have the VIP section, which is when like all of the yeerk controllers like go off, and then Jake like runs up as a dog to try and eavesdrop on them.
Yeah,
I gotta admit, when they go to the Sharing and it's like on the beach and they got barbecue and there's games, I was like, this does sound kind of nice.
For the most part, they are hiding pretty well, like, because they all go to the Sharing to be like, something's up with the Sharing, let's go find out. And they don't really find anything wrong. It's actually just like a beach party and it's fun and you get to hang out with your friends at school. But then there's a secret separate meeting at the Sharing at the Sharing gathering, and so that's the one that they eavesdrop on and find out there's something called like the yeerk pool, where the yeerks have to leave their humans every 3 days to bathe in the pool.
Yeah, the Cadrona rays.
Yeah. And so they decide, we gotta find where the pool is, because then we could go and destroy it. So they figure out where the pool is by they follow
the assistant principal.
Yeah, because they find out that their principal is also a controller.
Yeah.
So, and Jake he's like not really focused on school, because how can you focus on school when you can turn into animals? So he decides to skip class one day and just turns into a lizard and is stalking their principal. And he sees him go into like a tunnel from like the storage closet. Yeah. And so he's like, I found the yeerk pool. They try to like attack the yeerk pool and it all goes wrong, but at least their identities are safe because no one knows that humans can turn into animals. So they just think, oh, the Andalites are here. They get chased out.
Going down to the yeerk pool, part of me thought like, oh, maybe there's like a bunch of different yeerk pools like spread out over town, and you go down and it's like a relatively small pool. It's like, because the invasion's been happening for a while. They've got like a city below the city.
Yeah.
The yeerk pool is a very big thing. They got like tractors and stuff down there. They're like doing excavation work.
Yeah.
They have cages for the people who are unwillingly controlled, and they just have to stay in the cage while their yeerks bathe in the Cadrona rays.
Oh, it's horrifying.
It's really terrible. Anytime you go down there, it's just screaming people.
My favorite though is the break room for people who have willingly given up their bodies,
and they're just watching like Full House.
Yeah, they're watching Full House.
Man, if I've fully turned over my will and autonomy to like the invaders, and they're like, here's your reward, a couch and soda and what's on? TLC. Here's some Full House. I'd be like, okay, I think I made the wrong choice. I like Full House, by the way. But I'm saying it's not worth everything.
I know. Like, if that was like your only moment of consciousness is watching Full House. This is like,
then
it's
again,
like
it
Severance.
is the 90s.
Yeah.
It's like if you were severed and then you just woke up and you had to watch Full House. When you are being controlled, though, you are aware.
Yeah.
So it's not like Severance where you're like completely unaware of everything happening. You're basically like watching from like a back seat as something controls your body, which is very horrifying. It would be better, actually, I think, if the humans were not aware of being controlled. Because that's really scary.
Yeah.
The escalation, not only within each book, but over the series, really surprised me. Because I'm thinking like, oh, they're going to get cool like animal transformation powers. And then they do like, oh, my science teacher is an alien. Well, out him at the science fair. It's like, no, we're going to attack the yeerk pool, which is basically the mines of Moria under our school. And they've got like slave cages and like a line of sacrificial chattel. Like it's terrifying. Yeah. And then the next book is like, oh, so maybe now is my science teacher an alien? No. It's like we're going to talk about the horror of your parents they stop loving you because you're an alien. That's what we're going to do next. And then we're going to blow up a giant spaceship.
Wow.
And the third one. And it's like, it just keeps escalating. I'm like, they're going to be like, marching across the battlefields of Mars by book 7.
Yeah. Well, so like the entire rest of the series is technically nothing changes about the status quo. Like they still go to school.
But that's the thing is, like, they do, I think it's one of the rare things of, like, a YA series where they do incorporate, like, the school dance and stuff, but it's not, they're trying to keep up this appearance of we are normal kids going to school because obviously they don't want the yeerks to catch on that they are the Andalite bandits.
Yeah.
But it's not, they're not saying, I'm not going to be an Animorph because of school. They're fully aware that their society and life is forever changed.
Well, what I just meant by, like, the status quo doesn't change is that, like, the world isn't, like, freaking out that there's an alien invasion.
Exactly.
So they are just fighting this battle secretly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no one, there's, like,
Alone.
no help for them. They end up, like, befriending another Andalite named Axe, who's Elfangor's younger brother. And then they meet some other alien creatures that assist them. But for the most part, they're, like, fighting this war, but then also going to school the next day, trying to maintain like a sense of normalcy for their parents, the parents who are not controllers, but also like for their parents who are controllers, they have to like not know anything, right?
Well, and they talk about that too of like the isolation, like they really only have each other because they only know what is going on. And frequently in a lot of the books, they're like, do we tell our families? When the revelation finally happens, when the first family gets told about the reality situation, the whole books turn on their head because it's all different. Because that's when it really, you almost feel it too. As I was reading it, it almost made it feel more real because now it's not just kids with this secret identity. It's like, no, this is a real war. This is happening, and now it's affecting our families because they keep it. They try to, as much as possible, not let it affect their families at all.
What I really like about the little bit of this series that I've consumed, at first it seems really contrived. Kids turn into animals. Also, there's an alien invasion. And like the invasion itself seems very familiar. It's a story that like has been told many, many times of like, oh, they're taking control of people and like you don't know who's still themselves and who's now like an alien invader. And they've got these like secret organizations. Yeah, there's a lot of stories like that. But like thematically, the fact that like it's not just kids turn into animals and then they fight aliens. It's like they're also in disguise in a way. And it's from a really interesting perspective. We keep saying like it's a secret war, like Marvel's Secret Wars or whatever. But like it's a really interesting perspective. Like these aren't government agents or these aren't like, like...
Yeah, they weren't recruited by a government agency to fight the war. And the government agency gives them resources. It's like Elfangor is like, you guys are the first kids I met.
I hope you're good.
Yeah, things are bad.
Yeah.
I was just really shocked and like pleasantly surprised that like there's a lot of nuance and thought into every aspect of world building. It doesn't seem like they went, cool if kid turn into bug. How do we make this into a story? But it does seem like really well woven together as a analogy for don't do war, kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
The like prevailing moral lesson in Animorphs is let's just not even reach this point in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one important thing for the end of book 1 is that one of the rules that Elfangor tells them about morphing is you can only stay morphed for max 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And if you
I
don't...
have thoughts about that one.
Yeah. If you don't unmorph within 2 hours, then you will stay as that morph and you won't be able to change back. So the kids are very cognizant of the fact that if we morph or if we go on a mission, it has to take less than 2 hours because if we get stuck, we're screwed.
My favorite thing initially is like when they're trying to figure out how to measure the time is like trying to read like people's watches. Like Tobias is like reading watches. And like I think there was at one point where they carried a wristwatch with them so that they could make sure they stayed in time. And
That's fair. I think I would really struggle.
Like, the time management of it. But later when they find Axe and the Andalite, he's able to keep track in his, alien brain.
Yeah.
It's a very convenient plot device where he frequently would go, we have 15 of your Earth minutes left. And Marco's like, they're everybody's minutes, Axe. Like, it's like the running bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because Tobias gets stuck behind at the yeerk pool when everyone else manages to escape, he can't safely unmorph because then they would know that there's like a human who can morph, and that's their one thing that is
Their
keeping them
advantage,
safe.
yeah.
So he ends up staying as a hawk and is just a hawk for all of these books. Genuinely, I was like, well, maybe if we're jumping forward to book 19 or book 29, maybe he'll have found a way to not be a hawk. And it's like, technically he is still a hawk. By book 29, he's given the ability to morph again, but his base form is still a hawk.
Yeah, I mean, I can spoil the specifics for you if you want. A couple books after 3 later, there's a really crazy guy in these series called the Elemist. Yeah. Basically, like, we're talking like Gandalf meets God meets space creature.
Isn't there a character in like Star Trek The Next Generation? Like Q?
Oh.
Is that it? I don't know if you've seen
I'm not as familiar.
kind of godlike individual who
Yeah.
intercedes for personal reasons.
Exactly. Yeah, he intercedes because the Elemist is fighting this eternal war with Krayak, who is like the Sauron of the series. Like, genuinely,
Wow.
the first encounter we have with Krayak is Jake has a vision of a giant red eye watching him.
Wow,
so
literally
literally
Sauron. Yeah.
Sauron.
Did Peter Jackson read Animorphs?
Did J.R.R. Tolkien?
Well, no, because Sauron
He
isn't.
did it better.
Because Sauron isn't an eye in the books.
Yeah, he's a big. He's a big nose.
Wait,
a
he's not.
schnoz.
Wait, Sauron isn't an eye.
Well,
Wow,
they
fake fan.
they call him like the all-seeing
Oh, the all-
eye of Sauron, but like there's no like physical description of Sauron
Mhm.
that's like an eye in a tower. But then Peter
Ah.
Jackson making the movies, obviously in film you have to just find a way to like portray Sauron, right?
Yeah.
So Peter Jackson was like, it says the eye of Sauron, so I guess we'll just make it a literal eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, copy.
But
yeah.
that is maybe Peter Jackson read Animorphs.
Maybe he
That'd be
read
really fun.
Animorphs. Yeah. Yeah.
possible.
Peter Jackson this whole time has been like, I'll get away with it. They won't know. And then we're like calling that. No, I'm kidding.
Peter Jackson, please DM Mouse Nice. Yeah, so these two godlike, figures basically fighting this just almost like on a mythological level of like them trying to win this war. But then on the minutiae scale, it's the yeerks versus the humans. So it's really weird. Like in a couple books, they go from what seems to be a broad battle between the yeerks invasion and the humans and the Andalites, and then they go all the way out to like these gods fighting this absolutely wild black hole.
The gods are playing RTS with us.
Yeah, pretty much, because Krayak, like, part of it is that they can't intercede in the war, but the Elemist has taken the side of the Andalites and the humans, and Krayak, obviously, the yeerks, and like so good versus evil. So the Elemist intercedes, and there's a book where he brings Tobias back to the past, to younger Tobias, and Tobias is then able to regain the morphing power and take his own DNA.
Wow.
So then,
Whoa.
so when the Elemist sends him back to his present, he's still a hawk. His main form now is a hawk, but he can morph for 2 hours into his old body.
That's nuts. So is he stuck always morphing into a young Tobias
He's,
for the rest of his life?
I don't know how aging works with the morphing, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I don't know if his human body would then
They do note
age
in
up.
episode God. Well, guys, I'm tired.
No, fair enough, though. Yeah.
They do note in book 29 that, because they all go to a dance.
Yes.
And I was so confused because Tobias is talking. So, because when they're morphed, the text is in brackets because they're using thought speak. But he's saying words in quotes. So I was like, is he human again? But then they say
Just
things
picturing
like,
this bird at a
Yeah.
school.
yeah.
He's a parrot.
Yeah, I was like really confused. And then finally I realized, oh, he is still a hawk, but he morphs into his human self.
Yeah.
But they do note that like none of their classmates would probably recognize him at this point.
Yeah, he...
Which makes me think, I mean, obviously it's been a while.
Yeah.
So they probably don't remember him. But I assume he just looks different.
Yeah.
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 Another morphing rule is in order to like go from creature to creature, you have to return to your base
Yes.
form first. You go from human to bear, back to human, then tiger.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go from like bear to tiger,
Yeah.
which makes it really dangerous when they're like mid-battle
Mhm.
and they need to morph into something else, but they can't reveal that they're humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, they set up the rules and the limitations of this power really early, and then they use them really effectively to put our characters into like really delicate binds. Except for this one moment in the third book, I think it's the third book, where they're like, "Oh, we're running out of time. We're wolves," and I'm like, "Just turn into humans, guys." And they're like, "No, we're running out of time." I'm like, just turn. What do you stop running? Just stop running and turn back into guys.
I think they kind of get away with it sometimes because when they are the animals, they just kind of start panicking, and that's fair.
That's a good justification.
Yeah.
Their animal brain starts panicking.
It really works.
Yeah.
The mechanics of the morphing really is effective for the plot and everything.
I appreciate how quickly they got around morphing clothes. They were like, we're just
gonna fix the clothes issue really quick.
We're gonna make them wear spandex and bike shorts like the whole time, and then it's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
but the first couple of times, the guys are like, "Oh no, we're naked." And the girls are like, "We have gym clothes." There's like a bunch of different times where they're like, "Yeah, I had to morph out like unexpectedly, and so now I'm just wearing my like bright pink leotard."
Just gotta own the look, I guess.
Yeah, it's the 90s.
Do they ever get like uniforms?
No, not really.
Huh.
Yeah,
there's no resources for uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
The
not.
Andalites don't wear clothes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And even if they were able to put in a custom order, you don't know if the person making it's going to be a controller.
That's
They're like,
true.
Hey, so I
We
just
got
received a
this
custom order.
It says
it's
Animorphs. So
Oh
I'm
my
assuming
gosh.
the Andalites do, in fact, arrive to aid the humans at a certain point.
Okay, so that's one of the big things. Big spoilers here. The Andalites give up on Earth. Like, they
Oh.
basically, at a certain point, they're like, yeah, too far gone, whatever. And the kids are like, what are you talking about? Because Elfangor says that the main battle between the Yeerks and the Andalites is happening so far away that it's going to take time for the Andalites to make their way over here. So the whole time, they're hoping that the Andalite forces will come. And
they're just kind of like, we're holding down the fort
Exactly.
until help comes.
Yeah. And then at a certain point, it's like basically revealed that the Andalites are kind of like, too far gone.
Wow.
Oh, well, you know.
Wasn't there a thing, because I was reading about like end series stuff,
Mhm.
where you maybe anticipate some sort of situation where it reaches a crisis point where it's like, our forces of good arrayed against the forces of evil. And then it turns out the end's a little more like, oh no, you have this insurgency with the Animorphs trying to save their planet, now facing down potentially the Yeerks making a more full play for taking over the Earth, and the Andalite fleet giving up on Earth and maybe going like full scorched earth with it.
Yeah.
Like, too many Yeerks here, just get rid of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so
Ooh.
then a big part of that and of the end of the series has to do with the Animorphs and Jake especially being like, our hands are tied. We have to fix this whole situation immediately or else everyone dies.
Yeah.
And the
Dang.
choices you have to make in that situation, my heart shatters.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
man.
it's so painful. And there's one crazy one, like one of the Endgame books, where the Yeerks have infiltrated the military. Like they've reached the point now where like the Yeerks are fully in the military the whole bit, and they infiltrate an aircraft carrier. And Axe goes a little like rogue. He's doing it for the right reasons, but he goes a little bit rogue in which he takes the form of a fighter pilot and has a Yeerk commander hostage and threatens to bomb the Yeerk pool. Basically, like, I will kill all the humans and I will destroy this Yeerk pool, holding him hostage. It's so, and you're reading, you're like, what's happening?
That's wild.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I haven't even talked to you about when they steal a plane and they fly it into a building. And this is pre 9/11. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow. I really want to read the entire series.
Oh my gosh.
Because I gotta know what's up.
Dude, yeah. There were some books where like I would finish, like I would, you could start flying through them, and I would just like have to like put the Kindle down and just kind of stare at the wall. Like, it's so heavy to sit with.
So, Livi, you read through all of these recently, but like when you were younger, was there any sort of like Animorphs fan community, or was there like any kind of like Animorphs fan fiction, or I don't know?
I'm sure there was. I think I was too young, honestly. It's like this was before like I was on Tumblr and the whole bit. I mean, it was popular enough that they made a Nickelodeon TV show out of it that ran for 2 seasons. It's wild.
It's live action, though.
It's live action.
How did they get all these animals?
Dude, I mean, we got to sit down and watch it. I don't know. And to be honest with you guys, I haven't watched all of it because it's a little rough. My favorite, though, is a clip that was circulating recently because one of the Yeerkpool entrances is in a McDonald's. So they have a clip from the show of the kids walking up to this, like, you know, and the music is so tense. The music is like the most intense music. And the kids go up to the counter at the fast food restaurant and they go, "We'd like a Happy Meal with extra happy." And that's the code name for when you want to go into the Yeerkpool. So it's like, it's like the most Taco Bell looking like fast food restaurant. And then they say this and the cashier, full smile, goes to very serious and escorts them to the back room where they can enter the Yeerkpool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very accurate to the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had a TV show. There were contests. You know, you could win swag. I think one of the contests was, you wouldn't be on the book cover, but they would make you into an Animorphs poster. Which want to plug, you can buy all of the covers on Etsy if you want. The artist is selling prints of the book covers, and then so there's one artist who did the majority of the main series, but then for the bigger books like the Animorphs Chronicles, the Andalite Chronicles, Visser, the Book of Visser, the Hork-Bajir Chronicles.
Wait, okay, so what are those?
Sorry. So those are part of the series, but they're like the specials.
Okay.
So they're much longer and they dive into kind of one alien species in particular. So the Andalite Chronicles is Morph Elfangor's backstory. The Animorphs Chronicles goes into the whole backstory of God Gandalf, which is
cool.
It's so and that one comes out near the end. So like you're hyped up this big war, and then you get sent all the way back to when the Ellimist was born and like how he then grows up and becomes this godlike figure. It's a super trippy book. And then the Visser book is it's so heartbreaking because it's about the life of Visser 1, who is the Visser who is for the longest time above Visser 3 in the yeerked military structure. Sorry, I just had an out-of-body experience. Like, what am I talking about? And it's about the first yeerks who come to Earth, infest humans, and then it's literally their whole lives, and they infest, you know, they go through different humans and, you know, and they're killing their hosts as they go along to hide the trace evidence of them behind. But then they decide to take over a man and a woman, and Visser 1's the woman. And the other yeerk convinces Visser 1 to, like, let's take 3 years and let's live as humans. So they live as humans and they fall in love and they have a child. Like their human hosts have a child. But like, is that child the product of those humans that they're controlling or of the yeerks? And then Visser 1's like, no, we're loyal to the yeerk cause. We have to do this. And oh my God, it's like I don't want to spoil it for you because you're going to read it. But
it's okay.
Yeah, but Visser 1 ends up killing her husband. And like, and the child is lost. We don't know where the child ends up. That's kind of that's a thread, but it's really heavy. And that whole book takes place, like you find out all of Visser 1's backstory while Visser 1 is being interrogated by the yeerks, like up for trial for death. So it's this like crazy political like courtroom drama while also learning the alien backstory, and then you're empathizing for them, which is also, you know, one of the themes of the books that I recommended that we read. And so those books, they had different back to what I was saying, they have different cover art. So I have a print of the Hork-Bajir Chronicle cover in my in my apartment because it's just so beautiful. And that's another really intense, heavy book. Yeah.
Lots of crazy stuff.
Oh my
happens.
God.
Wow.
Do these books feel like these are written for kids and also they're very intense, or do they eventually get to the point of they're just very intense?
I think that they're very intense, but I kind of want to go off of the methodology of like, we're not going to shy away from dark subjects, even if we're intending for these to be written for kids. Like, I think it takes the kids so seriously and says like, you can handle these themes. This is important. This is a universal truth of like what happens in war. And so definitely when I was, you know, I'm describing what's happening in these books to my mom, and she's of course going, why did I ever let you read this as a kid? But on the other side, it's like, it's as real as, you know, child morphing soldiers can get. And it is the realities of you're making big decisions and big sacrifices. And like, even when you're in war, the enemies aren't going to care, you know?
It shoots straight with the material.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like
It's not like Saturday morning cartoon.
well, not like Saturday morning cartoon, but it's also not like here's just a bunch of horrifying stuff for just the pop sensation of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
It's pretty intentional with it, given its subject matter.
Yeah, it's not quite like The Boys, like where sometimes it feels a little gratuitous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something about like media stories with dark themes written for adults sometimes becomes excited that they can write about dark themes and then they just kind of overdo it. Or kids media with dark themes knows that they can't overdo it, but still want to like tell the story in a way that respects everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get this really like nuanced like towing of the line that I really appreciate because it's still like devastating, properly devastating, but it's not so much so that you turn it off and you're like, why am I even consuming this? Which is nice, I think.
Yeah.
I also like that the books don't take time to have like, here are some evil aliens and we gotta, I mean, they do that, but like the very second book is about humanizing Chapman, who in the first book is like a big antagonist. And the very second book is like, no, his home life is a mess and everyone's sad. Which was like, I thought Chapman would be, I thought we'd have like 10 books of Chapman, the evil vice principal before he turns
like
good or
mustache
whatever.
twirling, yeah.
But no, it's like immediately Chapman did not want to be a controller and in fact like sacrificed himself to save his daughter. And like it's his wife that betrayed him and there's this whole like thing. And then like I think it's about like Rachel infiltrating their home and then like trying to like help her friend who is Chapman's daughter, but like realizing there's nothing she can really do except like at a very far distance and like she has to step away from it. But like, you know, it sucks because like Chapman's daughter, Maddie, I think.
Yeah. And Rachel makes a comment that she's concerned because Maddie has like pulled away from her.
Yeah.
So she's immediately, I think initially they're really suspicious of, is this whole family one of controllers? And they find out that Chapman is being basically held hostage by this situation.
Yeah. And so like Maddie realizes that her parents are just like robots at this point, but she doesn't understand because she's a kid. And so she's like, I guess my parents just don't love me anymore. And now I'm devastated. And the whole book is like the theme of like sacrifices for the people you love. It's like Chapman sacrificing for his daughter, but it's also like Rachel sacrificing herself to save Maddie from being yeerked by like letting herself be captured. And then there's this big fight where they blow up ships with trucks and there's an elephant. There's a whole thing.
That could sum up any Animorphs book.
Yeah.
And then there's an elephant.
And then there's an elephant.
There's an elephant.
Yeah.
But it's that core, very like human conflict to it.
Like we spend a lot of time just like introspecting about like how would I react in the situation and like, you know, the family relationships, like how important that is. And not everyone who is against you like has a choice in the matter. And so like it's important to try to have empathy for people, even if at the end of the day you do still have to fight them.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to destroy you.
Which
Elephant.
Yeah.
But that kind of brings us to those two other books we read that focused on Cassie.
Yeah. So book 19, The Departure. We start in the middle of a fight. So the Animorphs are doing battle with the yeerks. And Cassie is morphed as a wolf and ends up killing one of the controllers, who's a Hork-Bajir controller.
Yeah, the Hork-Bajir are like these giant, like almost dinosaur-like aliens that the yeerks use for like militia, guerrilla soldiers.
Yeah, so what happens is they're fighting and then Jake tells everyone to pull back, but Cassie sort of registers it a little bit too late, and also she's like locked in that wolf mindset, so she does end up killing the controller. And afterwards, she's really upset. She's like, I am sick of this war. I don't want any part of this. So going from book 1 to book 19, I was like, oh, it's already so bad. Like, I'm not surprised because it's a lot of time and a lot of books. I'm sure a lot has happened, but...
How much time between those first, like, in the story? Like, have they moved up a grade?
They don't really ever move up a grade. I think it's honestly...
I thought they started... Don't they start in middle school? I couldn't remember if they started in middle school.
I kind of Googled some of this.
Yeah.
I think the timeline they said kind of gets a little vague and you have to sort of like put
it's
it
very
out of your
Phineas
brain.
and Ferb.
It's
one really bad summer. It's kind of crazy because it doesn't feel like a lot of time has passed as a whole, because you never see them, like, there's never a mention of graduation, there's never a mention of summer break.
A very Animorphs Christmas.
Where's the Halloween episode?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and also, just as a side note, like, I love that it's not really clear, because they never say it. You know, the book always opens with, like, my name is Jake, and I can't tell you my last name or where we are because it's too dangerous. But I really want to know where this takes place.
I did see
I think it's somewhere on the
speculation.
East Coast.
But they have access to the beach.
But East Coast has beaches.
And how do they
it doesn't. It's all just one cliff all the way across.
There's a Dunkin' Donuts mentioned in number 29.
But they
there's
have
also
Dunkins here.
No, they didn't get them here
Yeah, but I was
in the 90s.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think.
true.
So that... Correction. There were a few Dunkin' Donuts in California in the late 90s, but they stopped operations in 2002. They announced a return to California about a decade later. Dunkin' Donuts is a very East Coast thing, right?
Yeah, but they also have, like, they get
Where's
to
the
area...
In-N-Out?
They kind of get to Area 51 really quickly, which is interesting. And then the gardens, to me, feels kind of like Six Flags, because it has the zoo element as well as it's an amusement park. Yeah, and so that's where Cassie's dad owns a veterinary clinic. Cassie's mom works as a veterinarian for the gardens, which is like this big zoo, which is how they get access to lions and tigers and bears, oh my. And an elephant. And so, yeah, so the gardens was like kind of the thing where I was like, oh, maybe this is like Six Flags? Like, that kind of vibe?
I saw, like, online there was a thread about people being like, I think it's like either North California or like Oregon, Washington, because of this, and this. And then someone below was like, I think Georgia, because Georgia has these birds. And I was like, you know, who knows?
That's super fair.
I like the premise of, like, we're fighting a secret war, so we have to keep our identities and locations a secret. But I also love the idea, it's, like, so perfect for kids media, because kids can be like, this is happening in my town.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm scared.
Anyway, so Cassie quits the Animorphs.
Okay.
Because she's like, I've crossed the line. I don't like what this is doing to my psyche. And so she leaves.
I don't like this.
Yeah. And the other Animorphs, by this point, they all sort of have different views on war and the necessity of violence. And so they all react a bit differently. For example, Marco is upset because he's like, why are you abandoning us to do this by ourselves? Rachel is upset for a similar reason, but also because she thinks that Cassie thinks that she's morally superior. Rachel is saying, you leaving makes me feel like a bad person for not leaving, essentially. So there's tension there. Jake, as the leader, understands where Cassie is coming from, but the only thing he says is, because you're leaving, you can't morph anymore. So don't morph, because I know you'll want to, because you're now used to getting to go wherever you want and getting to fly and all those fun things, but you can't morph because it's a liability for us. Like, it's really dangerous. If someone sees you morphing and you're not officially part of the group, it puts all of us at risk.
Yeah.
So Cassie's like, you're right. I won't morph anymore. She goes home, and that night she sees this young girl being chased by a bear.
You know what happens.
You do.
She's like out working in the field. Oh my God.
Yeah, a bear. So she
It's
helps.
Tuesday again.
Yeah. She helps the girl evade the bear,
Mm-hmm.
but they end up getting lost in, like, the woods.
Yeah. Because they fall down the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get swept away.
Yeah, they fall down the river.
Mm-hmm.
It's really dangerous. Like, you think that, like, she might pass out and then, like, die down there, but luckily they survive. But the girl hurts her foot. And so they're like, we can't walk back. It's getting late, so it's going to start getting really dangerous. Let's just find shelter.
Also,
Also-
a leopard has escaped from the private zoo.
What?
There's some person who had, one of those, like, unethical private zoos. A leopard escaped from
Yeah.
it. And
So there's a leopard out on the loose. It's already killed someone.
or
So
it's hurt some people.
it's like hurt some people.
There's a really, it's so great. You can just picture it in a movie where they're out in the woods and it's like, we got to find a place to like hunker down because it's going to be like raining or whatever. And they look up at the tree and they just see this like deer carcass hanging in the tree.
Yes, yeah.
And this girl is like, does a wolf do that? And Cassie's like, no, but a leopard does. And you're like, my spine is tingling.
Also,
that's these books.
not only is there a leopard,
A second leopard?
A second, stronger leopard.
Cassie realizes very quickly that this girl is a yeerk, a yeerk-controlled human.
Yeah, and this yeerk knows.
And this yeerk knows because
Yeah.
the yeerk that Cassie killed was this yeerk's brother.
Yeah.
And this yeerk, her human is named Karen, so for now we'll call her Karen. So Karen basically like immediately calls out Cassie for being like, well, you could just morph and get us out of here. Cassie's like, what are you talking about? How does this girl know? And she's like, okay, she's a yeerk. And now she's like, oh, shoot. A yeerk knows that humans can turn into animals. So it's a huge, dangerous situation. But they're also trapped in the woods together.
And there's a leopard.
And there's a leopard. So what happens is you get this like survivor situation where they have to like help each other survive the woods, but also simultaneously have this like really interesting moral and ethical conversation about the war, about what the yeerks actually are like, because this is the first time she's ever had a chance to really talk to a yeerk and get to know them. So she's obviously coming at it from like the Andalite perspective of like the yeerks are invading Earth, they're bad. And Karen is saying, but we are parasitic creatures. When we are not controlling anything, we are blind, deaf, and like mute. Terrifying situation to be in as like a small creature, right? So she's basically saying we're just following like our biological imperative to survive and infect people in order to like continue the yeerk race. They use like analogies like, well, you humans eat cows, for example. The cows probably think you're evil. Do you agree with that, etc.? So it's like really interesting. What ends up happening is Cassie starts gaining empathy for the yeerk and starts trying to like talk to her about like, are there any like peaceful yeerks? Like, are there any yeerks who don't agree with like this invasion? And I'm trying to remember how exactly it happens because there's like a lot that goes on in between. Because then like the humans start searching for them, but then some of the humans are human controllers.
Yeah.
So
It's strange. They have a lot of conversations in the middle of it. These books are really well done.
yeah,
Cassie's
it's really fascinating.
whole like psychological situation is that she's like, I know I should kill her,
Yeah.
but she just can't do it. And she can even recognize that disparity in her thoughts and actions where she's like, I know it is like the right thing to do here for the sake of like humanity, basically, in terms of just what the odds say. But I just can't do it. Like, I'm just so broken that I can't like just kill this person.
Yeah, and at first she tries to like convince herself that it's just because she doesn't want to kill like Karen the human. But then she realizes, no, it's like I actually do feel like I can't even kill the yeerk that's controlling Karen, despite knowing that she's taking Karen's body unwillingly, and also knowing that they've been fighting this war with the yeerks, and letting this yeerk go would jeopardize potentially the entire mission.
Marco eventually finds them.
Marco finds them. They turn around. There's like a gorilla.
Well, it's also too, like, to add on, it's also one of the first times we hear yeerks ever say like, and you killed my brother.
Yeah.
Like, because you really think, like, for a parasitic species, it's like, oh, like, do they have a family structure? You know, do they have empathy for each other? Because if you just listen to Visser 3, he throws out these yeerks like,
That's true. Yeah.
he's like frequently like, oh, you're an idiot. I'm going to kill you. You know, like,
Yeah.
I think that's also too where Cassie's like, oh, they're like, the yeerks are, you know, empathetic creatures.
Yeah, and something
they have...
I did personally affected this other person.
Yeah, and the yeerk kind of goes into, which you learn a little bit more about in later books, but the yeerk talks about like the first time the yeerks did take over hosts. How it works is the yeerk
really
will
gross.
slither in through the ear canal or whatever, you know, equivalent is on an alien species, and literally flattens himself out over the brain, like taking,
Whoa.
like, you know, connecting to the neurons firing, and that's how they take over. But once they lock in, for lack of a better word, once the yeerk locks in,
That's what I'm gonna imagine now. Anytime, like I'm locking in, I'm like a little yeerk, like flattening myself. in my
exactly,
brain.
so
Wow.
it flattens like a pancake, like over your brain.
Doesn't it like seep into the cracks?
Yeah,
as well?
exactly.
as you're like
Whoa.
spreading out, you're like slowly gaining senses.
So so then the yeerk, like for the first time, like the first yeerk doing this, like was like suddenly able to see and smell and taste. And what's really funny is like they also describe that with the Andalites. So, you know, the aliens getting the first sensations of a different, you know, when the kids transform into animals, it's like, oh, I can fly for the first time, or, you know, this, you know, sense of smell from the wolf, you know, the sight from the bird. But then the Andalites, they don't have mouths. So when the Andalites first morph into humans and they can taste for the first time, it's the same euphoric, like,
Right, like Axe is really excited to eat food.
oh my gosh.
Ah.
My favorite quote, one of my favorite quotes must be when Axa says, the delicious taste of vinegar. No, it's the delicious beverage known as vinegar.
Ah, yes, yes,
to
my
clarify.
favorite.
So Cassie learns about the yeerks. A lot of them are just like, it's just a whole new sensation, and it's so much better for them to be.
Yeah, and the yeerk basically says, you have no right to tell me I shouldn't do this because you take all of these sights and sensations for granted. What ends up happening is Marco finds them, and then immediately it's like, we gotta kill the yeerk. And Cassie gets in the way, and so Marco's like, what's going on? Like, why are you empathizing with the yeerks? Marco goes back and tells the other Animorphs, Cassie's losing it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marco's basically at that point like, all right, get out of the way. I'll do it. And
Yeah.
Cassie, I think that's when Cassie puts her head up to Karen's head and allows this yeerk, I think, do we say her name? Aftrin, to slither into her head.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so Cassie gets yeerked.
Oh.
Yeah. Which
and
is
that's
even
when
worse
Marco's
because
like,
now it's
oh
like...
no! Because now Aftrin will just know everything Cassie knows about all
Yeah.
the Animorphs and everything.
What happens
Yeah.
to Karen?
Karen starts crying immediately and trying to run away.
Yeah.
It's really sad anytime a human gets unyerked because they, especially when it's like a kid, because they're
Yeah.
immediately just like sobbing their eyes out. And poor Karen's like foot is broken, so she's just like
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
crawl away. It's so brutal.
It's really bad.
Can I pitch the term yeerked around?
Oh, that's great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
Cassie then is yeerked around, like
it's
she
sort of like goes both ways. So now Aftrin knows everything Cassie knows, but now Cassie can also access Aftrin's memories. And that gives her even more empathy for this yeerk. And so after that,
It's so like hazy because we're given the impression that Aftrin is kind of like already leaning towards this sort of like, I don't like doing what I'm doing as a yeerk, like taking over beings without their consent and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And they've been like getting a little closer to each other's perspectives, enough so that once they mind meld, basically,
Yeah.
the like empathy gates like open really strong
Yeah.
between them.
Huh.
And Cassie knows it. She's like, Aftrin is now morphed into a bird. The only thing that she has to do is land next to a payphone and then call another controller,
Yeah.
and we're screwed. But Aftrin doesn't. Aftrin flies back into the woods, and I think they get a hold of Karen again.
she's just been hanging out.
Karen's
Yeah.
It's like, where am I? What's happening?
and then Aftrin goes back into Karen, so Karen's now yerked
Okay.
around by Aftrin. Aftrin does a thing where she kind of like sends thought speak to some of the human controllers that are like the state troopers looking for the missing kids or whatever, saying like, there are Andalite warriors coming your way in the form of birds. You have to take them out, or just like watch out for them. And she did that. Like, she didn't reveal that it was humans in possession of the powers. She's just trying to buy time because
Yeah.
her big plan is she basically tells Cassie, I will give up being this controller. I will go back to being permanent yeerk slug in a pool, but you have to do the same thing. And she picks up like a little worm and says,
a
"Take this-"
caterpillar.
Well, it's implied at first that it's just a worm.
Oh, okay.
And then she's like, turn into this worm and stay for 2 hours and be a worm for the rest of your
Would you
life.
still empathize with me if I was a worm?
Oh, wow.
Oh
Wow.
man.
Incredible. But Cassie does it.
Yeah,
Wow.
This is what I am, Karen said. A slug, a worm. What this little creature experiences is what I would experience if I didn't have a host body. I'm sorry, I said.
Oh, right, because Karen doesn't know it's a caterpillar.
Yeah.
Basically, like, Aftrin doesn't have all the knowledge of animals that the Animorphs has.
Because she's only invested like a kid.
Yeah, and Karen is a child, so she also has limited knowledge. And so that's why she holds up, quote, a worm, and then Cassie turns into it.
Yeah.
And she's basically like, if you stay as this worm for 2 hours and that's your form forever, then I will hold up my end of the bargain. But then by the time the Animorphs find them, it is too late. But Aftrin wanted her to stop.
She was trying to tell
Cassie. She was trying to tell her, like, morph back. Like, she regretted it.
Yeah, the perspective of the book changes in those last couple chapters.
Yeah.
As soon as Cassie begins to morph the caterpillar, and she's in that moment, like, detailing that she is grieving everything that she's losing. She's losing her family. She's losing her friends. She's going to lose her sight. Like, everything to morph into this caterpillar. And the book's shift changes into Jake's perspective, and it enters with, my name is Jake, and I'm a peregrine falcon, and like we're trying to find our friend Cassie. Like, it's really cute. And they find them, and they find Karen sobbing that I begged her to change her mind. Like, I begged her to stop, and because
After and as Karen.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah. And then they take her home, but then she ends up metamorphosizing and becoming a butterfly, and because the morphing process happened naturally, it resets the clock. So she gets to turn human again, which is very nice.
It's so funny because Axe is like, well, she can just change back. And they're like, what? But it's the best moment, though, because I'm like reliving it.
Because they let her go. They're like,
let her go.
Be free, butterfly.
And Axe is like, oh, wait, no, doesn't she just change back? And they're like, catch that butterfly. Get that bug.
Wait, so what happens to Aftrin then?
Okay, so book 29.
Oh.
The arc.
Yes.
Complete
So does she
now.
really go away for...
She really goes away.
She really goes away.
At the beginning of the book, they go to a dance. And then at the dance, they meet... What's the guy's? It's like another teacher.
Yeah, Mr. Tillman.
Mr. Tillman is another teacher.
Yeah.
Tillwell?
Tidwell? Titmouse? Wait, I got it. Yes, and Mr. Tidwell.
Mr. Tidwell.
The strictest teacher in school.
Yes, he comes up to talk to them.
Well, because...
okay, right, you're right. Yeah.
These books move like a mile a minute.
And there's a bear.
At the dance, Axe starts unmorphing. So Axe morphs as a human to go to the dance to participate in fun human activities with the rest of the group. Tobias is also there morphed as a human and eat things. Yeah. So Axe goes and is having a grand old time. And then from the distance, they start seeing him unmorph. So they like run up to him. They're like, Axe, you're unmorphing. Morph back. And he's like, suddenly really weird. He's like, what do you
Weirder than
mean?
usual.
Yeah. And he's like,
There's something in the cinnamon
he's
buns.
like feverish and like drunk kind of acting. And he starts unmorphing weirdly. And they're like, this is not good. Rachel throws a bandana on his head to like hide the fact that he's like unmorphing. So then they like try to get him out. But then they run into Mr. Tidwell, who stops them. And they have to like come up with all these and Chapman. So they have to like come up with all these excuses and like distractions. They like get Chapman to go away. But then Mr. Tidwell is still there. And he's like, I already know you guys are Animorphs. So they're like, what?
Because he talks to I think he just talks to Cassie in that moment. Where he's like,
Because friggin' Axe like morphs his tail out and like basically slaps him in the head.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Tidwell just grabs Cassie and walks like a little ways down the hallway and they're like, oh no.
Yeah.
But that's when we get the reveal.
So Mr. Tidwell is controlled by a yeerk, but this yeerk is part of the yeerk peace movement.
Ooh.
And so...
Politics.
Yeah. So this yeerk is in the group with Aftrin. Apparently the peace movement is growing. They no longer want to control humans who don't consent to be controlled. But Mr. Tidwell actually did offer consent. So...
He initially was a reluctant controller, but then once, like...
But they're letting me watch Full House.
He's different from the ones who watch Full House. He's like... He's part of the peace movement. Where he's like, I want to help the yeerks. Like,
he and his yeerk basically, like he talks about in the book, like in one of the chapters where he and his yeerk basically came to a mutual understanding of like, we both don't want this to happen. But Tidwell, he joined the sharing because he was hugely depressed. And so he joined this group.
He like lost his wife.
Yeah.
I think.
He gets yeerked around.
Gets yeerked
and now his yeerk like wants to help with the peace movement.
Yes.
So it's a peaceful cohabitation in that example.
Yeah. So Mr. Tidwell tells Cassie Aftrin has been captured and is going to be interrogated by Visser 3. So you have to go get her. Otherwise, she's not only going to die a horrible, painful death, but she's definitely going to reveal everything about the Animorphs and the peace movement. So both of our causes are screwed because being tortured by Visser 3 is no joke. So Cassie goes to tell the others or try to convince them because they're still like, we don't know how we feel about Aftrin and about this supposed peace movement. And so they're not very convinced. And then Jake gets sick. And then they all just fall like dominoes.
Well, what's crazy is like they come up with this plan. Like, so Axe is getting sicker by the second, and he tells them it's my tria gland. And nobody knows what that is. It's like, nobody knows what that is.
We'll just go to the pharmacy and be like, hey.
Yeah.
So basically, like, in his feverishness, he's like, you're going to have to cut it out of me. But nobody knows what that entails. Like, what's like, he's.
And it's like, if you don't cut it out of me, it'll explode inside my head. And
It's
I'll
like,
die.
imagine getting appendicitis, except if the appendix exploded, which is bad, but it happens and you can get surgery and get it cleaned up.
Yeah.
Imagine if you just instantly died when it
Yeah.
exploded.
And also, you don't know where the appendix is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
And do you know where it is, Gino? Not the appendix, the tria gland.
Oh, no.
It's in his head.
Oops.
Whoops.
Yeah.
He needs that.
Yeah, but even he's not quite sure where it is and can't relay that information. So they come up with this foolproof plan. Tobias goes and gets some eels. They get the eel DNA. They're going to take the eels with the help of their holographic producing dog robot friend, Eric.
Oh.
That's a whole nother thing from the Chi. So Eric gives them the directions of like how to get from the water tower to the Yeerk pool because they're going to use the water currents with the eels. I'm like locking in with Gino right now.
Okay.
So they memorize like all of the twists and turns with the water pressure. They go to the water tower. They morph into eels. They spend a good couple paragraphs biting each other on the ass.
Great.
Sorry, biting each other on the butt. I don't know what with the
We
language.
meow out curse words.
Biting each other on the butt. Then they start going through the pipes. But as they're going through the pipes, something is wrong with Jake. And they realize very quickly
His
Jake
butt
is
got
sick.
bit too much.
Yes. And he's sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then they take a
And
different...
it's dangerous because if he starts unmorphing in the pipes, that's bad.
Yeah, so they divert to a different pipe path, and then they get shot from a fire hose into a burning house.
Great. Awesome. What a great book. What a great
And
series.
that's not even the worst thing that happened. So, but like, yeah, it just keeps this, like, it just is intense all the time.
Yeah.
It describes them unmorphing from eels in this burning house, emerging from like the flood of the hose, like swamp monsters or whatever, because they're, morphing. So they're just like,
They're like, where are we? What's happening?
Yeah, so they make it out, manage to morph into birds, get closer to Jake's house. They have to demorph because Jake is just dying. And then Cassie and Marco, she spends a paragraph describing how they link their arms together to make a bench for Jake to sit on so they can carry him back to his house, which was such a fun detail. Because I remember doing that as a kid, like carrying your friends, like, locked together.
Yeah.
So yeah, they take him home, but he's sick, so he's out. And they,
Luckily, they managed to find out that when the humans get this sickness, it's just like a really bad flu.
Yeah.
But they're definitely out of commission. Like, they can't go
They're
and
puking
rescue
all
Aftrin.
over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so Jake goes down, then Rachel goes down the next day. Like, she doesn't even go to school. Marco goes down.
Marco goes down, but it's this crazy... So, because Cassie goes to Marco to have this, like, we need to get this done. And Marco's always been pro, like, I don't trust the Yeerks, And Marco has this really chilling monologue about the 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. And he's like counting down.
Yeah.
He's counting down like there used to be 5 and now there are 4. One little monkey still jumping on the bed, Cassie. That's you. And then he like throws up. It's so crazy. So Cassie then ultimately ends up having to find Aftrin on her own.
Yeah. Well, Tobias also gets sick, but luckily he's a bird, so then Cassie's dad can take care of Tobias.
She puts him in a cage in the barn or whatever.
She's like, at least I don't have to worry about Tobias.
Tobias is like, let me out of here.
He's like biting on the wires.
Yeah.
And but Marco, in that weird monkey on the bed monologue, he says, like, what are you going to do if you succeed? And Cassie realizes, if I rescue Aftrin, she can't survive without the Cadrona rays.
Yeah.
So after 3, it's like, we'll rescue her, and then after 3 days, like, what's going to happen? Like, if she just dies, right? But she's like, whatever. I just
gotta build
go.
their own little small yeerk pool.
Yeah,
in the
small yeerk pool.
Yeah.
So she just decides, I just gotta do it. Game time. Oh, actually, she has to make a really terrible decision.
There's like 3 ticking clocks here.
Yeah. Because she's like, I'm probably gonna get sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to do it before I get sick. Because if I get sick, then everything's over. But if I leave and it takes longer than Axe has, then he'll die. If I stay to save Axe, then Aftrin will die because Visser 3 is coming earlier than expected. So Cassie has to make a life or death decision, which is, like, this is for the greater good, because if Aftrin gets interrogated, then everything's over.
Yeah.
So if that means that Axe dies, then that's the choice I have to make.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I'm sorry, Axe, I hope you understand. Like, I don't want to make this decision, but it's the only decision I have. So she goes, this crazy rescue sequence.
It's
first
great. She goes to
how much
Tidwell.
detail do you want to go into this?
Well, she goes to Tidwell's house, and it seems like they figured this out, where Tidwell's yeerk, sloops out of his head into like a Ziploc baggie of like water.
It's so
Convenient.
Cassie takes the yeerk's DNA, turns into a yeerk,
Whoa!
Yeah.
goes inside Tidwell's head.
So she becomes a yeerk human controller, which is crazy because then she's like
There's so many levels.
experiencing the sense, like what it's like to like have no senses as a yeerk, to then getting to be a controller and having that experience.
Yeah.
And then she's like also learning how to like walk as Tidwell, but like because she's like a yeerk, but also a human. It's crazy.
She describes, like, because she knows what Tidwell knows, she's able to know how to drive a car.
And she's like, I get to drive.
Wow. Does
But
she
it's-
retain that knowledge?
I don't think so.
Rats.
Maybe. I don't know, actually, but
Maybe if she has to drive a car again, she'll have more confidence.
Yeah,
I guess.
I would think so. Yeah, it's not. It's because she didn't morph Tidwell, but like because she has access to all of his brain knowledge.
He's
and all
basically just like
that.
chilling in there with her.
it's like,
Because he can talk to her. He can talk, like, humans can talk to their yeerks.
Yeah.
Like, it,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is why some yeerks are like, ugh, my human controller just keeps whining and yelling and screaming. Oh,
Yeah.
crying for his mom.
Yeah. Fun. So
but it's crazy, that specific yeerk transformation. Because,
Oh my god, it was so gross.
well, because when it was very gross, awful, just how, because all the different description of animal transformations,
Right.
this is just like everything in me melts. And it's just awful.
And it's coated in mucus.
But
Fun.
like the way that they'll describe getting this, animal brain that they kind of have to rein in, depending on what they transform into, the yeerk brain really does cast extra light on, like, if you transformed into, instead of a dolphin or a dog, like a parasitic organism, the experience the parasite has getting access to a host, it's an accomplishment that goes beyond what you might imagine being a human without your normal senses getting access to those senses again. Because for the yeerk, it's a biological imperative.
Right.
And it sort of calls back to that earlier book, that notion of how revolutionary it is for the yeerk to gain access to the senses of a different organism, because that's kind of what its role is in the biosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just very strange.
Yeah, and Cassie like kind of experiences it through looking through Aftrin's memories in book 19, but then in book 29, she experiences it completely vividly, what it is to take over somebody else's mind. Yeah.
This is fascinating because the first time I saw that cover, I just kind of glanced at it and I was like, that's a chameleon. Nope, that's a yeerk slug.
That's a yeerk.
Yeerk slug.
Yeah. So they go to the yeerk pool
Mm-hmm.
and they've got Mr. Tidwell's yeerk in a bag. And so what happens is, like, Mr. Tidwell, like, goes to the yeerk pool. They, like, slip the yeerk out of the bag so that he can also bathe in the Cadrona rays. And then Cassie slips out, and now she's just in the pool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So she's like in the pool with all the yeerks, and she's like, how do I find Aftrin? How do I even swim? And she like figures out how to swim. It's very funny.
Imagine like an Olympic-sized swimming pool filled with slugs.
Yeah.
Like that's how they describe this. This
Fun.
massive pool.
So a super easy,
And she
simple
can't
thing.
see or hear anything.
Yeah.
So she
It's like a little
sort
bit
of uses like echolocation to
Hmm.
try to like figure out shapes around her. And then she
She finds a lobster cage,
finds
basically.
a cage, yeah. And she's like, well, obviously Aftrin's in the cage.
It's
Yeah.
just so funny.
And but it's just like she can't talk to Aftrin, so she can't even be like, I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
it's Cassie, right? So what ends up happening is Visser 3 comes, and she's like, oh, shoot. Clock's ticking. There's like another human who's getting their yeerk put back into their head. So she like shoves that yeerk out of the
Oh,
way and
nice.
gets into that person's head. But it turns out this lady that she's controlling is one of the willing human controllers, like the ones who watch Full
Oh.
House.
The ones who watch Full House.
I have to specify because there's like willing human controllers who are the peaceful ones,
Yeah.
and then there's the ones who
Yeah.
watch Full
Oh
House.
my god, it's insane though, because then she just launches this poor woman.
Yeah, because she's like, I can't let her access any of my memories. I just gotta go.
Yeah.
So she's like marching towards Visser 3, and does she like punch him or something?
She
literally
hurls
just-
herself.
She
Right,
just
yeah.
throws herself. Yeah, she throws this human woman at Visser 3, and then still manages to get back to the yeerk pool. Right?
Yeah. She gets after it and is
Mhm.
like, let's go. And then in the yeerk pool, she's like, okay, I have to get us out, but
What do I turn
what
into?
do I turn into? Also, I have to go from yeerk back to human, then
Yeah.
to an animal. So in the pool, she starts unmorphing. And then in the middle of the water where she's trying to hold her breath and everything,
She's
like
surrounded by
cycling
yeerks.
through
Jeez.
all the animals that she could possibly turn into. And she's like, at first she's like,
Armadillo.
oh, she tries an owl at first because she's like, I can hold Aftrin in my claws, and then, but she's like, oh, I can't fly because my wings are weighed down by the water. And then finally, she decides on an osprey.
Yeah,
an
it's like-
osprey.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Waterbird.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, they're water birds. So she transforms. She gets out of there. Visser 3 is really angry. They send like a hunter robot after her, and then she poops on the hunter robot, which is really funny.
They send like a
Perfect.
drone,
Awesome.
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they get to the door, and there's like this bio shield that they have installed that won't let anything but yeerks and humans through. And so she's an osprey right now. So she's like, shoot, I can't go. But then luckily, like some other human controller opens the door and is like, Andalite. And she like busts through.
That
Nice.
is one of the more convenient solutions.
Yeah,
because they
at this point she's
yeah.
earned it.
Yeah.
You know? Like I didn't want her to have to like think of some other crazy solution to get out of there.
so true.
Oh my gosh. So, and then she like looks back and Mr. Tidwell's like got his fist in the air and she's like, from an outsider, it would look like a gesture of anger, but I knew it was a gesture of support. And I was like, wow. So
And then she has to do brain surgery.
yeah, and then she has to do brain surgery. So she goes back to the barn and Axe is like critical condition. So she's like, I'm locking in again. She like gets some tools from her dad's like tool box or whatever.
That's crazy.
And she puts Aftrin inside
yeah, well, at
Axe's
first,
head.
so she's like freaking out.
Oh.
She's like, I don't know. She like tries to feel around for the tria gland. She's like, surely if it's like about to explode, like I can probably
Is
feel.
it beeping? Is it
Yeah.
pulsing?
And she's like, I can't figure out. And she's like, wait, I can put Aftrin in Axe's head and she can tell me where it is. So Aftrin goes into Axe and helps Cassie do brain surgery.
Nice.
It succeeds. Hooray. They start stitching Axe up. He starts flipping out because there's a yeerk in his head.
So like Axe, right? You don't meet him until book 4.
Mm-hmm.
Axe is like the younger brother of Prince Elfangor, who is one of the leaders of the war against the Yeerks. So Axe has been raised as this military cadet. Like he has been raised as a child soldier. Like he
Wow,
knows
okay.
the stakes of the Andalite War. They find him because like his pod crash landed in the ocean. It's the whole thing. So imagine like you go down with the flu, and when you wake up, your mortal enemy, who is the species that murdered your brother and hundreds of your fellow Andalites, is now in your brain. And your best, like one of your best friends who like vowed, like they frequently talk about, like, Marco makes Jake promise, like, if there's ever a yeerk in my head, I want you to kill me.
Yeah.
They don't make these promises lightly. And the fact that Cassie has willingly put a yeerk inside Axe's head, he, like, loses his marbles, just enraged that this is happening, and begs Cassie to kill him. And she's like, I'm trying to save you, shut up.
Wow.
She was like, I had to do it because you were going to die. And he's like, you should have let me die.
Yeah.
And Aftron's like, I'm out of here.
After's like,
She's like, I'm getting out of his head. So she gets out, goes back into the water, and Axe lets Cassie stitch him up, but then leaves because he's just like
he's so
too
shook,
freaked out.
They did surgery on an Andalite.
Yeah, they sure did. So, but the day is saved, you know. Yeah,
much harder than a grape.
Much more difficult.
I like the way that this ends, though, because
the ending made me cry.
Yeah.
They do a bait and switch.
Yeah, because at the end, you're still, like, because she talks to Aftron, and she's like, what now? And Cassie's like, well, maybe you can just, like, stay in my head, and I'll go to the yeerk pool every 3 days so that you can survive. And Aftron's like, no, that's really dangerous for you and for me. I don't think it's worth it. I would rather you just let me. She
just says, like, kill me. I don't want to die from starvation.
Oh.
Yeah. She was like, I don't want to die a slow, painful death.
Rough.
So just kill me now. And Cassie's like really unhappy with that outcome, but also acknowledges that that feels like the best option at the moment.
And then they flash forward.
And then flash
to the beach.
Yeah, so then they go to the beach. Everyone's recovered. And they're saying, oh, today's like the day we say goodbye to Aftron. And so I'm like, okay, she's still alive. Maybe they like kept her alive for a couple more days and now I don't know what they're going to do. And they go to the beach and Cassie's like, well, I like went to go see her earlier today, morphed as a dolphin, and she was excited to move on.
Oh, they gave Aftron the morph
So they
power?
gave Aftron the morphing power.
Nice.
With the, like Jake was saying, you have to just choose one morph and stay as that for the rest of your life. So Aftron chooses a humpback whale.
Nice.
Yeah. And then they like sit on the beach and they watch her like whale tail like disappear into the water.
Yeah.
And it made me really emotional. I was like, that's the best ending for
Yeah.
Aftron's story.
Choose
like
the
she's really
biggest
earned
worm
that.
you can possibly find.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the
I mean,
biggest
whales live a
yeerk
long
pool
time
you can
too, right?
imagine.
Yeah. No, it was heavy.
Yeah.
It was such a, like, the catharsis of, like, that's such a good solution.
Yeah. It was also like nice seeing that the Animorphs all had like more accepting feelings of Aftron by the end.
Yeah.
Like they all wished her well when she left. And so I think it was really nice.
Yeah.
And it was a really good short little arc for us to cover in this series with like a nice happy ending.
One of the very few happy endings we were going to
I
get
know,
here
I
in
literally
Animorphs
was
land.
like, oh my gosh, like this is so bittersweet because like they did succeed and like they formed this really nice friendship, but then Aftron is just going to have to die because she can't survive without a host or without the Cadrona rays. But this was so nice.
Yeah.
And now she gets to be a whale until, you know, the earth gets scorched or whatever.
And it's really it's really funny because, like, and I completely acknowledge this because I didn't have you read these ones, but they reference when they're watching her swim away, I think Marco says, well, it can't be any worse than the last person we gave morphing powers to. And he's
I was going to ask about that, yeah.
Yeah, he's referencing another series of books that I remember reading from when I was a kid. And it was the time that they gave morphing powers to another kid named David.
Wait, so it doesn't even happen in the main Animorphs books?
No, it happens in the main Animorphs books, but it's like 3 books. Like it's like a 3-book part, like
I see.
trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, but it's like back to back.
I see.
And they give morphing powers to this kid David, and David turns out to be like a psychopath.
Oh.
Yeah, like he is fully like full violence, full scent. I'm going to use my morphing powers for selfish reasons, like because his parents get yeerked. And so the Animorphs are like, well, we got to save this kid, but David wants to use the powers for, like, he doesn't, you know, he's totally willing to sacrifice them to the yeerks, like the whole bit. So the end of like the second book is what I'll always remember because it's where David has killed a hawk and you think, like, as from the reader's perspective, you think it's Tobias. So it's like he's killed Tobias, like he's almost fought Jake to the death as a lion versus tiger. Like, it's super intense. And then the third book, they have to figure out what to do with him. So they end up trapping him as a rat for the 2-hour limit and then leaving him on an island. Yeah, they just drop him off on an island. And like the last chapter of the book, they have this whole thing like, yeah, and people who go to the island, some people, they say they can still hear the screams of this kid. Like,
My
like
God.
it kind of goes into like almost ghost story mode. But
What the heck?
yeah, it's really dark.
I mean, that's brutal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
Not good for the Mouse Knight Studios brand, unfortunately.
I was going to say, is that a room with a job?
what's his job?
Haunting this island with his screams.
His job is being cursed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Like, I realized that I didn't even consider the morphing as an option for Aftrin because they kind of vow at the end of that book to never use the
Yeah, because they mentioned it early that they had allowed someone to use the morphing power, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I like forgot that they had the box that could give the powers. But I was like, I don't think they would ever do that for Aftrin because it's so dangerous for them to give a yeerk morphing abilities.
Yeah.
I am just thinking about, like, you know, Aftrin's like, I got 3 days until I need Kandrona raise. And then they're like, wait, we have this amazing plan. Aftrin, you can choose any animal. And Aftrin's like, that's amazing. I choose humpback whale. And they're like, we have 3 days to find a humpback whale. And then stick this slug on the humpback whale. Can we do it?
Incredible.
Wait,
I choose
that's
no
true,
copy.
yeah.
Where are we going to...
Actually, you know what? I assume happened is that they gave her the morphing ability, and then maybe she got to like swim around a little bit and like figure out what she
That would
wanted
make
to
sense.
stick as.
Yeah.
Maybe like Cassie went with her. This is like if
This
I
is your
wrote a fan
fanfiction.
fiction,
Yes.
it would be about like Cassie and Aftrin like going on like an ocean adventure. Forget about the war. Forget about all the sad stuff, right? They're going on an ocean adventure to figure out what Aftrin wants to end up as.
Yes.
The best, one other great moment of the series is when there's like some plot reason why they need to go to the deep sea. Conveniently, a beached whale shows up on the beach. Yeah,
Nice.
now they can get the DNA from
Yeah,
the whale. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really got really attached to Aftrin by the end, which is why I was so devastated and then immediately so happy by the way her story ended.
No, it's a great arc. It's a great arc you selected for us. And it adds so much necessary context.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And a great full circle, because the end of the first book is fight at the yeerk pool, and then end of this little duology
It
is
did
fight
make
at the
me
yeerk
think
pool.
that all these books are just about yeerk pool fights.
They go to the yeerk pool a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
The
That's where the
yeerks
yeerks
are like,
are.
oh my gosh, these Andalites will not leave the pool. They should just move the pool at that point. Like,
They've dug too deep. They've committed
That's
too
true,
far.
yeah.
They've got too many McDonald's franchises attached to it. It's like, I recently drove to LAX and there was like 8 McDonald's on the way, and now I'm thinking, oh, those were all
They're
entrances
all
to the
entrances
yeerk
to the
pool.
yeerk
Yeah, that's why
There
there's
would be a yeerk pool beneath LAX.
that makes more sense.
can you imagine if the authors are trying to be like really unspecific about where it is, and it's like, and the yeerk pool is located under a giant airport that's located next to several McDonald's and In-N-Outs and next to the beach and like next to a really
There's military
big
access. There's
there's a really long crowded freeway.
Mhm.
Can I say there's a very fun, the whole thing with Visser 3 being like the only, yeerk controller that can morph, but also he just has all these weird alien morphs from like
Yeah.
across the cosmos.
Yeah.
So he's always turning into some strange creature, and he's like, I found this morph on a dying moon at the edge of a supernova, and it's like something with 10 heads spitting fireballs, and you're like, this is just fun. This is
Yeah.
where I can get my pulp fix before the horrors set back in.
I love it because it's like pretty much all the aliens. Like you can make an argument for the Andalites. They're a little bit too close to like humanoid-ish. Like especially in the cover descriptions. In the books, they are described as very alien. Like no mouths. They've got eyes on stalks that can turn all these different ways. Obviously, you've got the horse and you've got the little arms in front. But all of the other aliens are so unlike humans. It's very anti-Avatar, right? Like it's like these are messed up creatures, which I really like.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So the important question that you pitched to us in the beginning.
Yes.
Oh.
You said bandit? Like choose your bandit? What does
Yeah.
that mean?
So the Yeerks call them the Andalite bandits.
Oh.
Which is such a wild word. Like,
The Andalite bandits.
So they like take on that term. They like that term?
They basically, they're like, yeah, I guess that's us, you know. So Marco coins the term Animorphs, but whenever Visser 3 sees them, it's like the Andalite bandits.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm wearing a shirt.
I mean, they're
that
in and
says-
out. They're stealing yeerks. Like,
Yeah. So I have this shirt that says "Choose Your Bandit," and it has all of them in their battle morphs. So yeah, you guys get to pick a bandit.
I mean, Tobias is pretty great.
Yeah.
I mean, you got extra time with Tobias.
I did. Yeah. I got a whole long story about Tobias as a bird, and then he finds himself like losing his humanity a little bit. They rescue another red-tailed hawk, and he's like, I should be with her. What is that? And then he makes his first kill like on instinct, and he eats a rat, and then he's like, ah! And he's having a very bad time. And he's also like, the whole wolf morph thing where they're like, we're running out of time. Basically, he reads a clock and he's like, oh, there's 7 minutes over 2 hours. And so they try to morph back, and 3 of them have a really hard time morphing back, and they get stuck halfway for a while. And so all this is like compounding, and Tobias is like, they fear me because they fear becoming me, but they can't really understand me.
yeah.
And also like I feel like my hawk self becoming stronger and stronger, and like my instincts are taking over. And so at a certain point, after he eats the rat, he goes into like almost like a depression frenzy, and he tries to kill himself by flying into glass.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And he ends up in a mall, like in a mall, like a crazed panic mall. Rachel's doing like some like gymnastics public display thing there at the mall. Marco's there to like make fun of her or whatever. And so like he flies into this mall with the intent of flying into like a wall and killing himself. At the last minute, like Rachel's able to grab him and like tell him to get a hold of himself, and he can't. So he tries to fly up through the skylight, hit the skylight.
Wow.
And Marco shatters it with the baseball. And then he escapes as a hawk, and like the Tobias self vanishes, and for 3 days he's just a hawk.
Whoa.
Oh.
And then while he's a hawk, there's also this big subplot about there's this giant truck ship that's like harvesting Earth's oxygen and water, and they figured out where it like comes to get the water. So they're like, let's sink into the truck ship and then decloak it over a city, and then everyone can see it, and then we don't have to fight this alone anymore, and the governments will fight it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
So anyway, he's living as a hawk near that lake, and then he sees a yeerked alien chasing a human, and a part of him is like, oh yeah, that's just like how things are. Predators hunt prey. And then like Tobias comes back and was like, no, you need to save the human. So he saves the human, and he's able to come back and be like, guys, I'm back. I ate a rat. I think maybe I just eat rats now. And everyone's like, you're human. And he's like, well, I'm kind of a hawk.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole thing where they morph into fish in a cave because they're trying to morph into fish to swim up the tube that's sucking the water out of the lake to go into the truck ship. But then there's extra security because Tobias helped the human get away. And also this human knows all about the yeerks and Animorphs now, but he's like kind of traumatized, so he's just not going to say anything. And then there's like this whole thing where they succeed getting into the lake, and the 4 Animorphs, sans Tobias, become trout and swim up into the truck ship, and then they get stuck. They're trapped in there, and the ship's about to launch into space. And meanwhile, Visser 3 has got, he's in a spaceship, and he's like, that hawk! Get that hawk! And then there's some crazy, like, Star Wars dogfighting hawk versus spaceships
Whoa.
Yeah.
stuff. And basically, Tobias is a hawk, steals a gun, and shoots all the pilots of the truck ship.
Whoa.
And then it does a barrel roll in the air and explodes. And the kids are fine. They fall out.
Cool.
Not a great track record with these kids turning into aquatic life forms and going through narrow space.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty
You're
rough.
right.
You think they should stop that?
There's a frequent sound effect that she'll write out for Tobias, and it's like, seer!
Yeah. So it's basically the whole book is just this one big long character study of Tobias and him going to his literal lowest point, and then
Oh,
going
it's not
to
his lowest.
of the book.
He can go lower.
Oh no! Oh, no, Tobias, no! He goes to the lowest point of that book, and then he accepts himself a little bit, and then he blows up a giant spaceship. So it ends pretty good, and the government doesn't know yet. So not all, not 100% win, but like any percent completion rate.
Yeah.
Self-care, blow up a spaceship.
Wow.
Exactly. There is a lot of description about him wanting to be with another hawk, though, and I was like, I understand, but not again.
Are we choosing the animals that are their main morphs?
I
Or
think it's two different questions, right?
Yeah,
we choose our favorite
there's
character.
Your favorite
But then
animal.
what would your main morph be?
Yeah.
I see,
And it
I
doesn't have
see.
to be these animals. It can be
Okay,
whatever
okay.
animal you want. Yeah.
And they do get dinosaurs at some point.
They get.
How?
I think being
I
a
don't
tiger would be
understand.
They
pretty
get
cool.
dinosaurs in Megamorphs 2, which is one where it's like everybody. It's like the chapters alternate in perspectives. So they
Ooh.
get sent back to prehistoric times. They get dinosaur morphs because, and it's all like an Ellimist, adventure. Sends them back to prehistoric times where they discover there's like 2 alien races, and the alien races are essentially in a cold war to try and get the advantage over one another. But then the Animorphs realize, like, we've landed right before the meteor's going to hit. So it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter who wins because, like, they're both going to die.
Wow.
So they end up helping, like, the more peaceful ones get a little bit of the upper hand. But at the same time, I think one of them, like, diffuses whatever weapon they helped them to create. And then they leave, like they bounce back. The power of the meteor or something, like, I can't remember the specifics, but like then they get sent back to their present day knowing that they've haunted by the weight of their choices to like interact within this Cold War.
I mean, you got to imagine from the perspective of those aliens, like, from the future, you must know the outcome of our great war. And the kids are like,
It's almost meteor o'clock.
One of you guys wins.
and I'm so, like, reading it, I was kind of bummed out even as an adult because they don't keep their dinosaur powers. Like, they lose them. And I'm like, I guess that makes sense because then the whole war's won. They just morph into T-Rex if they want,
Yeah. If you see an elephant in the middle of your city, you're like, I guess like a circus was in town. You see a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Something's up.
Something's up.
Yeah.
Something's different.
But so
What is it?
frequently, though, they use that excuse of like, oh, I guess a circus lost an elephant or the zoo. And it's like,
Listen, this
how
guy's got so
times
many
can they
leopards.
do that? Yes, so many leopards.
There was a moment in that book where Cassie describes trying to fight off that leopard as a wolf and being completely bodied by the leopard. Like the leopard barely even tries, just like tears apart a wolf. And I'm like, you should get that leopard's
should get
DNA,
that
Yeah,
maybe.
right. I was like, can we just calm down the leopards so you can steal some DNA and then you can be the leopard?
Leopard versus leopard violence.
Yeah.
Leopard on leopard
Do they
violence.
ever establish whether or not they can get DNA from someone else's morph? If one of them turns into a wolf, can they all like chain wolf down the line?
No, I don't think they can't do that. I think
Rats.
they have to go with the source. It's not really ever specific. I don't think that's something that's really brought up, but yeah.
It's implied.
I don't ever remember them doing that of like, oh, here, I went and got this thing. Let's all chain morph off of that, unfortunately. The limitations of Andalite morphing technology. There's also, not to be obnoxious, but there's also a book where the premise is they morph into fleas, and the so when you morph, the way that the Andalites describe it is your body is then put into zero space. Like, as you are changing, like, your body is then basically kept in storage somewhere else. So they morph into fleas, and the morph is so small, they go too far, and then they are then in zero space. Thankfully, an Andalite ship is there and is able to pick them up. But, like, it's like this really intense, like, feeling of them getting sucked almost inside out, because then they're going into zero space. And that's when they learn more about, like, the Andalite military and how the Andalites might not be on their side. It's a whole thing. It's, it's a whole thing.
Cool.
Oh my gosh.
We haven't even talked about my favorite book, which is the Hork-Bajir Chronicles. But
I know you were telling me about it vaguely when we were deciding what books to read, and I was like, oh, that sounds really intriguing, but it feels like too removed from like the main
It's true.
conflict. But you can talk about it a little bit now.
Now that I
is
brought it
yours.
up. Technically, like, it's kind of a standalone, but it goes into the history of the species of the Hork-Bajir, which is their gorilla fighters, right? The big kind of, they describe them as like Tyrannosaurus toes, beaks, and their biggest feature is these big blades that come out from their arms. It's really scary looking guys. So they goes between two perspectives, one of an Andalite, a female Andalite. I can't remember her name right now, but she is sent to the Hork-Bajir planet with her family. Her father and mother are researchers with her little brother, and her father committed one of the Andalite sins of he gave technology to a species that they consider lesser than. So, like,
so they have a superiority complex.
Yes, they do. And they also have a whole thing against people with disabilities.
Oh,
there's,
great.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama with the Andalites. So they get basically exiled to the Hork-Bajir planet. And you find out that the Hork-Bajir, you find that out with the Animorphs books, but you learn more about how they're not vicious. They're not even predators. They're vegetarians. The blades are for cutting the barks off of trees and for climbing, and they're able to like soar through the treetops. And the female Andalite, I think it's Alaron.
The Andalite we're referring to is actually Aldrea. Alaron is another Andalite in this book who is more antagonistic.
And she, meets up with this one Hork-Bajir who they've chosen because he's smarter than the rest of them. They all have very basic kind of, mental capacity, but he is able to have much larger thought processes, communicate better, all of that. So he's kind of a leader of his people. And it's so crazy because then the yeerks come and the yeerks mess everything up always. And so the yeerks kill her entire family.
Oh,
yeah.
Great.
Entire family gone because they're Andalites, so wiped out. And the
Yeerked
yeerks
up.
come. Yeah, yeerked up. And the yeerks begin to infest the Hork-Bajir. And Alaron the Hork-Bajir find out that the Hork-Bajir were created by an entirely different species to just be the gardeners of that planet. So
wow.
Yeah, so the creators of the planet don't even view the Hork-Bajir as equals or the whole other species. They're essentially just as utility as tools. And then the Andalites come to help fight the yeerks that are beginning to infest this planet. And the Andalites do the same thing. They're like, all right, scorched earth. So they develop a virus to kill everything, all of the Hork-Bajir and everything. So Alura and the Hork-Bajir have to try and like save as many Hork-Bajir as they can and also go against the Andalites, and she ends up permamorphing as a Hork-Bajir because they've fallen in love. And it's just this really heartbreaking study of war and what we're willing to sacrifice for it. Yeah.
It's always the people in between that suffer the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really intense. I kind of butchered it, but it's a really good read.
Wow.
It sounds really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes those really standalone tales in like larger narratives like this can because you can just take a very specific idea for a story.
Yeah.
And you can leave the sort of like the structure you've set up.
Yeah. And I think too, also because then she's not dealing with kids. She's dealing with, like they can go into more adult thematically because, you're not writing from a kid's perspective. You are, not that she doesn't take it seriously as we've discussed, but now you've kind of left that limitation behind and you're able to go into much deeper topics.
How old were you again when you first read these?
I want to say God, these were coming out and then, this was released
The 90s.
The 90s. I want to see what
Before
first scholastic printing, July 1998. So these are
Wow.
older than me. Yeah. I want to say maybe 8 or 9 when I was reading these, for the first time. Yeah.
Were you a fast, did you blow through these, or was this kind of like a saga for you that you grew up with?
I only
all
got up to maybe book 15 or something when I was a kid. And so then when I worked my first big movie and I was making, I had some savings, I went onto eBay and I found someone who was selling them for $300. And I did the math of okay, if I were to find each of these individually and buy them one by one, what it cost, and it would end up costing more than that. So I was like, all right, investment.
Gosh, you did your own nostalgia club run.
Yeah.
Revisit as an adult.
100%. Because then I told Victoria, I was like, I just blew $300 buying Animorphs books. And Victoria was like, this is good podcast content.
And I was like, Animorphs, you say?
Yeah.
We are thinking about doing an Animorphs episode in the future.
Yeah.
And it's perfect timing because Mr. Ryan Coogler, Oscar winner.
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
announced
God.
a
I'm so glad to
Animorphs
hear it.
adaptation is in development. So this is our official pitch to get Livi, who is a props assistant, on the show
Yes.
as the best Animorphs expert we know.
I know.
Exactly.
I was like, I don't want to do props. I want to just be the pure consultant.
Yeah.
I want to be the lore master of the Animorphs world.
the
for
lore
sure.
master.
Gosh.
Who's Michael B. Jordan gonna play?
Oh my God. Can you imagine Michael B. Jordan as Marco or Jake, I think? That'd be so sick.
So
And
you
they
cast
drastically
4
age them
kids.
up.
No, you
they're-
cast 4 age-appropriate kids and Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, and their friend in universe, Michael B. Jordan.
There he is.
Oh, no. What would be better would be him as Tom. Because, oh my God, the layer, Jake's brother Tom, who is, yeah.
Wait, yeah.
That'd be heavy.
Yeah.
Especially...
He would do so well.
Oh, yeah. One detail I forgot to say about book 1 is that Jake sees Tom fighting back after, like, the yeerk goes into the pool. And so for a brief moment, you think, because, like, then Tom chases after and they're, like, trying to get a bunch of people out. And you think maybe they'll make it. And they don't. And it's even worse because you know that, like,
close.
Tom doesn't want to be there.
And the ramification, like, when you think of, like, later stuff in the series and how all of it turns out, it's like, you're like, if they got Tom out.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it so bad, but it's such a good moment, like, to, like, reveal in the books. Like, I also just... There's some really heavy stuff with Tom, and you get to the end, and you're like... I remember there was a moment with that, and I was just like... I literally, like, I was in the middle of the book, and I just put it down. I was like, oh my God, I can't. Just, so Michael B. Jordan is my pitch. I think Michael B. Jordan would be a great Tom.
It's a good part because he doesn't need to be there for every episode.
Yeah. So it works with his busy schedule. Yeah. Wow.
But ultimately, look, as excited as I am for the idea of another Animorph series, I also am just fully like, my dream would be an Animorphs animated series. Because I don't think they're going to be able to do everything they want to do.
Like the animal budget alone. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just draw them.
Yeah. They're just reusing Mufasa assets or something.
We can only morph into lions for reasons we cannot explain.
And a warthog and a meerkat, and that's it.
Only African savanna animals.
A slightly scrungier looking lion.
Oh, I guess they have Jungle Book too, so we could get a tiger. We get an Idris Elba tiger.
A giant anaconda.
I just feel like it'd be so much more fun to get to, like, be stylized with the animation and have really cool transformation sequences or whatnot. I guess we'll see.
I want to give a shout out though to my friend, not my friend, I don't know him personally. When I was reading, I read them all, but there's a guy named Gabriel Bergmoser, and he just has this blog online powered by Weebly where he wrote out an entire reading guide. So if you are interested in reading Animorphs, he breaks down each book by a ranking system of essential, recommended, or skippable. So if you don't want to get bogged down by reading about Andalite toilets, or that one time they morphed into cows to go into a slaughterhouse and then realized this is so wild, guys. They say, okay, so we're going to morph into cows to investigate this slaughterhouse. They morph into cows, and I'm not joking. They realize that by morphing into these cows, you can tell because the cows they morphed aren't neutered. Like, they don't slaughter bulls, they slaughter steer. So the kids have to realize.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, they really don't shy away from
They don't end up neutering them each other.
They get different cows.
I think so.
Or they go, we gotta give this one up, guys.
What's more horrifying is to realize they could go that route and they could morph back and be fine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because of how it works. Man,
isn't that wild? Because I didn't think that they would do, like, it didn't even come to my mind of like, oh yeah, this isn't going to be a problem. And it's like, oh no.
They get really realistic with the ramifications of morphing into specific animals.
I will say, you say really realistic, but they're in book 3. They talk a lot about the alpha wolf, who's Jake. And that study's not real. I mean, it is real. It's a real study, but it was done under bad circumstances, and the author of the study has spent the rest of his career trying to tell people that it's wrong and stop following it.
When they republish these books, there should be a huge like asterisk, like this is a product of the 90s.
People are like, what sort of problematic thing? Oh, the wolf stuff.
A little seal on the cover, product of the 90s.
Well, I think I remember reading there was some disclaimer about There's another book where, again, through the Ellimist meddling, Jake gets sent into the future, and so they reference...
I can't believe, like, time travel is part of this. But, like, also, sure.
He gets sent into the future into an adult version of himself where he sees a future. It's kind of very, like, a la It's a Wonderful Life, where he's like, oh, like, if we lost, like, this is what the future would look like if the yeerks took over the planet. And they reference the Twin Towers. So apparently, and I haven't vetted this, apparently in the audiobook, there is a disclaimer that is like, hey, these were written like pre 9/11, like the whole bit. They do not give that disclaimer to the book in which Rachel leads the group into stealing a plane and flying it into a building. Like, those are two completely separate... Yeah.
Wow. It's astounding.
Mm-hmm.
Does this imply
that if the yeerks won,
the Twin Towers would still be standing? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
My
Lore.
gosh.
Yeah.
Lore.
Yeah.
Lore.
I mean,
truly.
I don't know that much about the specifics of animal society. So unfortunately, anything that happens in these books, I'll be like, sure.
I could say anything right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything I've told you so far is something that I remember happening in these books, though.
No, I just meant like, if they were like, yeah, animals have these instincts.
Oh, sure.
I'd be like, cool.
I want them to morph into the shrimp that they've already debunked can see all the colors, but I wish that had been part of it. Like, can they see? Like, I want to hear K.A. Applegate describe all of the colors that one shrimp can see.
If they survived the war, then their job should just be to, like, advance animal research. They would, like, learn so much.
And if they morphed into a shrimp, they could do the monologue from Shark Tale.
Yeah.
Yes.
They could also do the whole, like, you're telling me a shrimp fried this right?
There's one where, like, Marco turns into a lobster in a grocery store to escape the yeerks. Yeah, like, it's crazy.
And then does someone try to buy him?
I can't remember, but in the European cover, one of the book covers is him turning into a gorilla, but in Europe, it's him turning into a lobster. Like, I don't know why. They changed
They're like,
that.
specifically, the lobster cover will appeal to the European audience more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I'd be back
Strange.
to seeing lobsters in the tanks and being like, oh.
Yeah. This would be asking way too much of you guys, but I really wish that, like, I could come back in, like, a year and you guys have already, like, read the whole series, because there's so much that happens in those final, like, 5 books that is so good.
We could definitely do another part.
We definitely could. It's such a catch-22, though, because the books are really good and I want to read them, but I also don't want to be sad. I already got some spoilers, but I'm like, do I want to sink myself into it? Well, I suppose I could.
So sorry.
They really are incredible, though.
Yeah.
They're really, really good.
I mean, I'm down to do another episode. We can see where the wind takes us.
I just give you guys, like, the last 5 books and say, go nuts.
Like, no, we gotta have the journey.
Yeah. But we could
65 books.
we could follow Gabriel's recommendations. You guys just read the essentials
True.
too, though.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
Yeah.
true.
And I can even pare down that list even more if you wanted. But yeah.
Thank you so much for walking us through these books.
No, seriously, thank you. Because I would read these, like, on my lunch break at work, and, like, my adult coworkers are like, oh, what are you reading? And I'm like, you have no idea, like, what is happening right now. Like, I think at one point I was trying to describe the plot of The Sickness. And I was like, yeah, so right now I'm reading about how they're learning the waterways of their city so they can infiltrate a yeerk pool while they're also getting sick and their friend is dying. And by that point, like, you know, my coworkers' eyes are glazed over, like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's so hard, though. I understand more of what you mean now, because you're like, you don't understand. There was like an SNL skit that came out relatively recently where it's like, the joke is like, the Animorphs, and they turn back into kids, and they're like, good job fighting aliens, gang. Gotta get home in time for whatever, meatloaf. And the joke is one of them gets stuck halfway through, and it's just, you know, like, oh, gross.
Yeah.
But I'm like, part of me was like, ha, ha, ha. And then the other part of me, the louder part of me was like, the disrespect.
What's so funny, though, is, like, I want to know who wrote and, like, produced that sketch specifically, because it looks identical to the Nickelodeon show.
Ooh.
Like, the aesthetic and, like, the kids' clothes.
I didn't even know SNL did an Animorph sketch.
Yeah, they did. It's called Beastomorphs.
Oh my gosh.
And it's, like, the same logo. I'm not joking when I say it is to the molecule identical to the Nickelodeon kids show. So in a way, I was like, the respect, but also you have no idea the horrors. Like, when they get stuck mid-morph, it's like the horrors.
It is just crazy seeing people talk about this series online.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're all just like, this series devastated me emotionally. And also they turn into animals, but also emotional devastation.
Oh, what animal are you turning into? What's
Yeah. Okay.
right.
Wait.
Yeah.
Favorite Animorph, and then main animal morph. I want to hear from Michael over here.
It's tough. I might have a different answer if I've read the whole series, but right now, just because of what I've read, gotta be Cassie. Because even in the darkness, it's like there's still some light, and I'm like, I'm holding on to that. Favorite morph? That's hard. There's so many animals. I do like in book 1, Jake transforms into a dog for a while after he discovers Tom is being yeerked around. He hangs out in the dog form for a little more because he's like, the dog is just kind of happy as like a default.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot to talk about that. The way he was like, I would rather be a dog because I don't want to think about how sad and depressing all of this is right now. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
So that could be nice.
Yeah.
Antidepressant morphs.
I think that sounds pretty good.
Like, you need to pick me up, just turn into a dog.
Yeah.
Sorry, so quiet now.
Yeah. What about you, Victoria?
I also got to say, I think Cassie is my favorite character, at least for now, but we did read Cassie-centric books, so it makes sense. I mean, also Aftrin. Shout out to Aftrin, my true favorite
sounds awesome.
Animorph. I was just so happy that she gets to be a whale.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiger's pretty cool, but I do think, like, the way that they describe being dolphins sounds so fun, so maybe I'd be a dolphin.
Yeah.
But then that doesn't seem very practical. So if we're talking like an everyday like default morph, maybe like a wolf.
A wolf would be
A wolf
good.
feels like useful where it's like you're not super big, so it's like easy to get around, but then you also like have fighting capabilities. So I think a wolf would be pretty cool.
Cassie and Aftrin sound awesome. But I read a Tobias book, so I have to say Tobias.
I do like Tobias too.
My brain goes immediately to practicality. So I choose a big bird, like a raven or a crow. Not a bird of prey, because those are rare, and when those show up in random places, people are like, "Oh, snap! Pay attention to that."
That's like a frequent line in the books where they're like, we all morphed into our bird of prey, but we had to also fly like hundreds of feet apart so that any bird watcher wouldn't
It's
lose.
crazy. A peregrine falcon, an eagle, like a red-tailed hawk,
an
all
osprey.
flying together.
But if I'm like a crow or a raven, those are common across the states.
Yeah.
So like people would be like, "Oh, another big black bird."
Yeah.
But then I could fly,
That'd be great.
Flying is pretty cool.
and they're considered to be very smart animals. So I could
Yeah.
act intelligently, and people would be like, "Oh, wow, a normal thing for this
That
big
bird is
living
inputting a
up to my
computer
bird
password.
expectations.
Yeah. Actually, I would love to be a turtle.
A turtle.
A turtle."
I just love
What kind of turtle?
You want to go in your shell?
I just want to go in my shell.
Oh. Victoria's a little box turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will bring this up just as a thing because I don't really think of it as a spoiler, but apparently, because I was looking up, are there any animals that like they didn't transform into that they could have? Like, what are people's ideas of like what animals could they have transformed into? And I guess like at a later point in the books, and this is what like all of the responses were to that post.
So good. I know exactly what you're talking about.
They all realized very near the end of the series, we've got all these birds of prey. They're not designed to fly long distances, and they're super conspicuous. We should have just morphed geese.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they have to go find this governor, and they decide to get geese morphs because they're like, oh, that makes the most sense. And they're flying, and they're like, oh, yeah.
Geese is
There's
pretty
hope for
good.
this.
Time we
This
could have
whole
been
time.
geese. And then you could be a flock of geese.
So many times they morph into like flies just to get into like a yeerked car so they can get transported to like a different area. And it's like, we
Yeah.
could have just been a goose this whole time.
In the third book, Tobias does watch an entire flock of geese hit an invisible spaceship and die. So maybe that might have, subconsciously, maybe he's like, we shouldn't be geese.
Yeah. Woof.
I think if I had to pick a favorite character, I'm going to say justice for my girl Rachel. I think that so something we didn't really talk about was that most of them were written by Catherine Applegate and her husband. But a lot of the books, especially not the last books, but in the later part of the series, because she's cranking these out. They get ghostwriters, right? So Catherine ends up being more of like the showrunner to the Animorphs series, where it all falls under her purview. She gets final edit and everything, but some of the tones and everything do shift, especially the characterizations of characters such as Axe and as Rachel. Rachel's a really interesting character because she really finds it sounds terrible. She finds a joy in the war, like in the violence. I think it's a really interesting study of like feminine rage and like women and like being discounted for all these years. And then you finally get basically permission to unleash, you know, the inner like warrior that she has inside of her. So there's a couple books where that's a really interesting analysis. And then like there's some later books where she's kind of distilled into Xena warrior princess, like, you know, that she is a killer. But there's also, to balance that, there are books where she is fully like, you know, you were talking about where Rachel is angry that, you know, she feels like she is worse than like Cassie because Cassie has moral qualms about it and Rachel doesn't necessarily have, you know, as many moral qualms about killing yeerks. So I think Rachel, and in terms for morphs, like if I can't have a dinosaur, I think I'd want to go maybe bird of prey because Tobias waxing on about the thermals and the joy of flying really gets me.
Also, closest thing to dinosaur.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, probably a bird of prey, if not like a tiger.
But if you had to pick a dinosaur.
If I had to pick a dinosaur.
Because you're the dinosaur person.
Oh, man. I mean, it's so hard because we don't know their true behaviors. We can only analyze what their fossils are. I mean, the druid I'm playing right now has been, she got an amulet that has cursed her with a hulking ability that when she falls to 5 or below hit points, she will turn into a T-Rex with unstoppable rage.
Cool.
That has been really fun to play. So I think just for the novelty of it, I think I'm going to go with T-Rex.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's not practical at all.
There's tiny arms.
There's nothing. Dinosaurs aren't very practical in our world.
That's true.
No, not currently. But man, it'd be fun.
It would be so fun.
Yeah. Dear Kay, Applegate, can they get the DNA from the mosquito? And can they then morph into What are the rules?
Any last Animorphs thoughts for now?
Oh, please. I'll be driving home and like continue thinking.
This is why like people have done entire podcasts just dedicated to the Animorphs. So
If you turn into a small animal and you eat until you're full, and then you turn back into a human, are you still full?
That's a really good question.
Or does the food shrink in your body and you've only eaten a quarter of the hamburger?
If most of your body is in zero space, then I imagine you're not full.
Rats.
it's rough.
Dang.
But then you get to eat a whole other new hamburger.
Well, but that sucks for Tobias. Because Tobias turns into human form. He's like, I'm so excited to eat these cinnamon rolls. He eats a bunch of cinnamon rolls, and then he turns back into a hawk and goes, dang, I'm hungry again. I have to go hunt. And it's like, it was cool to eat those cinnamon rolls, but it's like honestly a waste of time.
I want to say that they have meals together. And that's like, I don't know if it's ever, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. I don't know if it's ever like brought up, but they do eat at the food court multiple times. And Tobias is a human, and Axe is a human, obviously. There's one part where Axe goes crazy for Cinnabon. Like, he literally eats a whole tray of Cinnabon and, like, passes out.
That's normal.
And so the Animorphs have to be like, don't call the ambulance. Okay.
That's so normal.
That makes sense.
My normal human friend here is okay.
And that's a whole nother moral quandary of, like, they come up with this issue of, like, they choose to not morph humans. Like, they choose to not take DNA. Because that's a way that they could get around.
Yeah, technically you could just morph as your friend or whatever.
So when later on, when one of them does, like, willingly morph humans, it's like a big, like, hey, we agree that this is a big no-no. So to get around this, Axe, in all his Andalite glory, goes around to each of the Animorphs and takes a little bit of each of their DNA. So when he morphs, they describe him as this really pretty human who looks a little bit like all of them.
That's kind of trippy.
Yeah, like the amalgamation of all of these kids.
Wait, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
But
maybe
in the show,
Michael
he's just
B.
a
Jordan
guy.
should be.
But in the Nickelodeon show, he's just a guy. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
We combined a little bit of DNA from these 5 kids and made Michael B. Jordan. Seems right.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm imagining like Michael B. Jordan be like, y'all yeerks. Can you imagine?
Hey, he won an Oscar.
Yeah.
He's probably looking to do something really interesting with his career.
Yeah, maybe start a neat club, call it The Sharing.
Pretty good.
Oh man.
Michael B. Jordan should be Visitor 3.
Dude.
Wow.
Michael B. Jordan should just be every character.
Yes. The entire Animorphs played by Michael. Michael B. Jordan should be Prince Elfangor.
But then he'd die right away.
It's true, but
Yeah.
he is like the aspirational war prince.
That's
you learn
true.
about his crimes later, but the aspirational war prince, like the one that acts as I have to dedicate my life now to avenging my brother.
No, I do like the idea of him being Tom the most.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Be pretty sick.
This series sprinted so all others could walk.
Yeah.
I've been sort of holding on to that. I just had a thought. I was like, oh my gosh. Which is not a hot take, I think. That's sensationalist to say, but like a lot of other middle grade series pace themselves in terms of how serious and dramatic they want to get.
Yeah.
But Animorphs really like goes the whole 10 miles.
Yeah, they don't hold back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the kids have I want to say the kids probably have a little bit of plot armor because you're trying, obviously all of this trauma happens to them, but nothing really happens, just so they have this core group.
It would suck if you ran out of Animorphs by book 10.
It's not that they don't get mortally wounded repeatedly, but,
But they get better.
But mostly.
Yeah.
They're like, my guts spilled out onto the
my
floor in front of
gosh.
me. Yeah, this happens multiple times. And then I morph and I'm still clutching at my abdomen. It's like, whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
If I had read these as a kid, I don't know what that would have done to me.
I think
But at the same time, I think we've talked about this so often with other children's books that we've read, which don't get quite as intense as these, but still definitely cover some really intense stuff.
yeah.
And my best guess is at the time I would have understood it to the level I could as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But then as an adult, of course, we're like, oh God, this is so terrible. Because it's we have our adult context and experiences to add onto it.
Yeah.
Whereas as kids, I think it's still age appropriate to.
Well, depending on your life experience as a kid, but generally it sort of exists at a remove a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's still more firmly in that realm of
Yeah.
fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that the thing that haunted me wasn't the covers, but it was the description of Elfangor getting eaten in the first
Yeah.
book. And that's when you
Yeah.
know, this is serious.
These are aliens.
Yeah.
They eat each other.
And then the little centipede aliens run around and
Taxons?
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. Those guys are crazy.
There's so much.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole nother discussion because then the other books go into the taxons and imagine if your biological imperative was to eat everything. So that's why the yeerks can't even, they talk about how the yeerks can't even infest the taxons because the taxon brain and desire to eat is so strong
Dang.
that they can't control it.
That's an interesting choice of ally to make.
Yeah. And they'll frequently get out of situations where a taxon will be coming after them and they manage to get around it by having them hit another taxon and the taxon's just eats through his brethren.
Fun. Fun.
I believe the TV Tropes website refers to it as horror hunger. Must eat.
Yeah.
Back to Animorphs' main theme of horror.
Oh, gosh. First on the list of
Yeah.
themes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow.
And yet even those, just for my spoiler research, that goes deeper too.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys. I
Yeah.
felt so insane.
Yeah.
Thank
and I
you
feel
for
like
guesting.
I've just word vomited all over
No,
you.
it's perfect. This is what we want all of our guests to do. Every single guest we've had is always I'm so sorry I talked so much. I'm like, no, we asked you to be here because we want you to talk about all the things you know about.
Yeah.
So,
And now Victoria's going to edit this down to a tight 15.
Woo! We're all going to sound like chipmunks because I'm going to speed it up.
Perfect. We've morphed into chipmunks.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Nostalgia Club. Today we are chipmunks because we're talking about animals.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more Animorphs, let us know in the comments. Leave a rating, subscribe, so that you can be updated when we hopefully talk about more Animorphs, even if it's in the recap or future update episodes. You can also send us an email at nostalgiclubpodcast@gmail.com or leave us a comment at Nostalgia Club Podcast on Instagram or follow us at Mouse Knight Studios everywhere. You can also support the show on Ko-fi and tell your friends about the show. That also really helps us out.
I have one last thing. I came
Okay.
up with a much better intro.
Ooh.
And until next time, Livi's going to give us a much better intro.
My name is Livi. That's my first name, obviously. I can't tell you my last name. It'd be too dangerous. The controllers are everywhere.
Dun, dun, dun.
Nice.
Incredible.
Amazing.